All right, good afternoon, good evening, welcome. Yes, indeed, South Sea Mercenary League season of 2024 kicks off today with the first qualifier. Bracket is live. If you check the link in the description down below, if you want to see who's competing today, we're going to be jumping in shortly with the round one match between Hadriz and Tartar. Looks like Grand Cathay versus Skaven, so they're getting their army picks locked in right now. And yeah, let's go ahead and get it done. Good to see you all today. Hopefully you all are well. Things are going pretty well for me, I have to say. I've been extremely busy over the past month, really, but especially the past, like, 2 weeks, week. I don't know. It seems like it's been getting progressively busier. But we're going to soldier on. Got the South Sea Mercenary League qualifiers set for the next 4 weekends. We're going to be alternating between days, like today we're on Saturday, and we've got one next weekend on Sunday, right? And we're doing a Friday evening for North America time, and then we're going to finish also with the Sunday evening towards the end of the month. So, lots of tournament action for you guys. Land battles with caps, of course, is going to be the game mode. And yeah, I prefer land battles for a bunch of different reasons, but land battles with caps kind of avoids some of the major pitfalls of land battles, some of the more degenerate aspects of it. So we'll definitely be enjoying that today. So just looking around things here, making sure everything's running smoothly. I'm adminning, of course, as well as casting and hosting. Got Goji helping me out for today. Yume's decided to take a camping trip like a reasonable human and go outside, so he's, of course, the author of the mod, one of the main authors, I should say, and also has offered to help admin some of these tournaments, but was out of town today. That's totally fine. Goji's here to save the day, so yeah, we're going to be getting started very shortly. Here. Yeah, good to see you all. Hopefully you're enjoying this late spring, early summer season. It's been absolutely gorgeous where I live here in the great state of Utah. I've been enjoying some outdoor time as well, but it looks like these guys are getting started, so let's switch on over. And I've got a fancy scoreboard set up, but since these early rounds are best of one, there's no need for it, so we'll just jump straight in and take a look. So, Adra's looking hot with Crazy Uncle Zhao. He's got Celestial Wizard as well. Very interesting. War Drum. Looks like some rockets. A pretty wild Cathayan build, I have to say. Pretty wild units all the way around. Well, let's see here. They've got cooking up. Tartar also. Like, he's got a pretty interesting build coming in hot with Skaven. Weak Head Taker is an absolute just boss pick. Not good, but for style points, definitely S tier. He's got some long spears, Hadriz does. Here, a couple of Jade Warriors. Yeah, Jade Lancers as well. Looking good there. Hang on. Can you guys actually see that? Let me just make sure. Okay, yes. Don't want to have any screen blocker snafus today, although it's probably bound to happen at some point, to be honest. But let's see. Yes, looking good. Zhao up front. We've got the Celestial Lion. Looks like Onyx Crowman. Yeah, and the ROR up there in the sky. Interesting. Yeah, the Astromancer is literally just here as a battery of elemental winds. He does have Cloak of Omai as well, so that's going to give some extra power recharge rate. And then Zhao, of course, Dragon's Breath, Final Transmutation, going to be looking to burst out quite a bit of damage, if possible. Looking at the Skaven side here, I've got a couple of sneaky Gutter Runners with Poison. Interesting choice. I've been seeing a lot of Night Runners lately, less so the Gutter Runners, but definitely interested to see how they're used here. Avalanche Mortars, got some Clan Rat Spears, long-range artillery, mix of Warp Lightning Cannons, Plague Claw Catapults, Skaven Slave Slingers, some Jezzails here. On ROR, includes some Clan Rat Spears up front, with a Plague Priest. Probably looking for some summons to pad out these numbers a little bit. Yep. Vermintide, Pestilent Breath. It's true. It's true. Picking Queek is an absolute dub in all situations. No question about it. Let's see here. Looks like they're getting started. Zhao is going to be getting going across the field here. He's a pretty small target on foot. Warp Lightning Cannons probably aren't going to make the best contact with him, but let's see. Warp Lightning Cannons are quite accurate. Somewhat underrated, maybe, in terms of artillery pieces. They do have a massive 70 bonus versus large, decent explosive damage, although the explosive radius is not huge. Fairly accurate. The main thing about Skaven artillery, one of the biggest drawbacks I've found, for sure, is their size. I mean, you just look at the unit model size on this, compare it to something like, you know, Cathay cannon, or any kind of cannon, really. They're just much larger and makes them much easier to hit with enemy missiles, especially on like a counter artillery situation. But let's see here. Got some rockets raining down at a distance. The fire rain would be a good counterfire, like the Warp Lightning Cannons would be good at counterfiring the fire rains if they were able to get into range. That said, they do have some trees here in the way as well, kind of blocking line of sight. One big benefit of the rockets, right, their arc of fire, they can potentially fire up and over these trees, not be too impacted by them, but the gutter runners were scouted pretty expertly. Celestial Lion took some damage in the process, but rockets definitely getting some nice value there. Yeah, there. On the Clan Rats, we see an arc's not quite good enough to hit them when they're close to the trees like that, but the Onyx Crowman going to make their attack run here. Celestial Lion also timed in pretty well. Let's see if he can get a quick tear out on this artillery piece here. Either of these artillery pieces, honestly. The mortars are quite dangerous, as is the Warp Lightning Cannon, so the Onyx Crowman come in. They're going to be able to shut them down pretty quickly. Question is, can they rout them before reinforcements arrive? You do see more Crowmen even sweeping in on the side here on the flanks, attacking the Skaven's ranged units, and all of a sudden quite a bit of value is going to be down for the Skaven immediately. Yes, you can see Atris just sweeps up like 2,000 damage value immediately. A couple of Death Runners in tactical reserve for Tartar there in the back, which is going to be a little bit painful, but yeah, Skaven about to get run over. We shall see. Yeah, the lack of Rat Ogres is definitely a problem here. They don't have any counter mobility, or, you know, like, even Wolf Rats, right, would be pretty decent at running down Onyx Crowman. Do Onyx Crowman have physical resistance? They do, yeah, so the magical damage, kind of AP Wolf Rats, especially in a rear charge, will be able to cut them down pretty quickly. But, yeah, there wasn't any counter mobility here. You see the effect of that being pretty immediate. I mean, Hadris has basically got this. It's Rat Ogre for Skaven, yeah. But I think the Skaven have pretty much got this one wrapped almost immediately. So that is how things go sometimes. It's how things go sometimes, especially against a very veteran player like Hadris. Definitely can be a certain outcome very quickly. Might actually bow out of this one and leave these guys to their fates, because the outcome has become pretty clear at this point. But oh my, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Let me screenshot that for reference for later, because as you can see here, the War Drum attendants are feeling a certain kind of way about how the battle has gone. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll look back out of this, since that result is pretty apparent. And yeah, GG's to both. Hadra's taking a quite the sweep there. Let's see if there are any other round 1 games have not started yet. Let's see here. Let me reference my bracket real quick. This up here. And, oh, that was actually a round 2 game, technically. But if we look, maybe we can jump in one of these real quick. Just gotta swap this. I'll actually accidentally give away army comps here, and okay. So, yep, we're back now with Golden Floof versus Mirovoy. Let's take a look here. See how they get on. Okay, sorry, just helping some people with some technical issues. Since we are running with a mod today, yeah, there's sometimes some minor technical issues with running mods off of Steam. Yeah, it's not a totally ideal solution, but most of the time it works. It's just, you know, the 1% of time that doesn't be quite painful, but yeah, we've got Dark Elves versus Tzeentch on this one. Curious to see how it goes. Yes, indeed. And around here, okay. Speechless to say the least. Yes. Yeah, I have to check. I don't know. I don't think that's an issue with the mod. That's probably a bug with the base game, but you never know. Uh, let's see here. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, this is the thing about trying to cast while I should put some music on for you guys. While I'm also adminning, is sometimes I have to divert my attention. I'm not the greatest at multitasking, I'm not gonna lie. So I have to sometimes divert my attention while I'm kind of responding to questions, helping people. Yes. Just responding to a few people here, making sure everyone's good to go. We're still waiting on Mirovoy to just finalize his army picks real quick, but... Probably going to be making some adjustments on the next one, but we'll see. We shall see. Definitely curious to see how... Okay, looks like they're jumping in. Yeah, so people have some feedback about the pick system. I have some thoughts about it. I may implement a couple of changes. Basically, either doing, like, no mirrors, which would kind of basically give you, like, 5 effective bans, essentially, which, I mean, if you can't... if your faction has more than 5 bad matchups, like, you probably shouldn't be playing them in a tournament. Just saying, Corn. But, yeah. But, we'll see. We'll see. If the part of it is, you know, people's opinions. Part of it is also looking at how the data plays out. Like, if there's a lot of specific wins, or if people, you know, if we see a very specific trend in one direction of people on a certain side of a bracket winning based on the pick rules. Because basically what we're doing, right, is like each player gets a global ban and then 2 bans. You just alternate bans and picks. It does give you some option for counter pick, you would argue. Player 2 gets a pretty significant option for a counter pick, but you can also kind of shape your picks, maybe even bait a counter pick potentially. I don't know. There's some different things you can do. It's a lot of head games, but let's take a look here at these builds. Mirovoy, first, of course, is rockin' Tzeentch. He's got Lord of Change, Exalted, Lord of Tzeentch, plus a Exalted Hero on a disc. Nice and flying with anti-large, armor piercing. He's got some horsemen. Looks like a soul grinder, some furies, and a nice little defensive position here with the sour guts, some marauders, and yeah, some marauder spearmen. Looking pretty nasty. That Tzeentch soul grinder is absolutely nasty. On the opposite side, we have their counterparts, though. Double Blood Rack Medusa, got Up in the Sky, Supreme Sorceress of Dark, Magic, Rose of Cain, Dark Riders, Red Spears, Sad Swords through the center, and Dark Shards. So looking pretty good there. Double Snake Lady cheese incoming. Yeah, Double Snake Lady versus single Soul Grinder. Steal the pick system from the Total Tavern site. Link you can use and everything. Yeah. Yeah. I might. To be honest, I'm not sure. But we'll see. See, kind of just depends on people's feelings plus how things actually work in practice. But let's take a look. Yeah. Tzeentch Soul Grinder doesn't have a lot of high-value infantry to target. My guess is it's probably going to try and go after the Dark Shards here. Like, target priority-wise, I would think that's going to be one of the most important to go after. They may actually just try and counterfire the Medusas, too, to be honest. Given their single target damage is still quite good, so let's see. Medusa gets a nice volley there in the sky, hits the Exalted Hero. Yeah, that shot there, because it's not kind of spreading, right? Because it's targeting the Blood Rack. It's going to mostly just hit Dark Riders, but Golden Floof advancing. Getting kited a little bit here. He is able to catch some of these Tzeentch Furies up in the sky, though, so starting to kind of get a little bit of an advantage. Oh, he's got Doomfire Warlocks. Oh, no. Oh, no, not Doomfire Warlocks. Snakes have no legs, so there's no souls to grind. Ah. Let's see here. Soul Grinder and Exalted Lord are kind of out by themselves on this flank here. They're also both just taking damage passively from these crossbows, even through their barrier, which is not ideal. Like, any real HP damage taken here is going to be significant, right? Supreme Sorceress, of course, can heal herself back up. Taking a couple volleys there, but both players just kind of skirmishing and posturing, basically even at this point. Let's see here. Soul Grinder pulling back, reevaluating. Yeah, target priority-wise, this is definitely the thing to do, is target these dark shards. So we see blue fire. Not that it needed the buff, but now Scatter Shot does target multi-model units quite decently. You don't have to side shot it down the line, although probably still would do quite effectively if you did. Doomfires are very questionable into any faction. They're one of the worst units in the game, in my opinion, but there you go. Blood Racks also just getting outranged here by the Soul Grinder is going to be a factor in this as well. Right now, yeah, Mirovoy kind of pulling back is now getting the better of this skirmish engagement. Let's see here. Little Arcane Surge there. Exalted Hero just hanging around. Yeah, the Dark Elf player really needs to just advance on this little defensive position here. The range advantage is not in his favor, right? So it's just going to get continuously kind of skirmished down unless he starts to close this distance a little bit here. Maximizing his shield use for sure, definitely. So yeah, initially that skirmish phase had been fairly even, but Golden Floof now just getting bursted down a little bit here. He's lost out about 2,000 damage value. Doomfires can work against greenskins. Yeah, they're... Gross Tzeentch Kite is really strong in this mode. Yeah, just as strong as in regular land battles, I would argue. But, yeah, this build here, I mean, he has some tools to try and counter skirmish. Like, he could even bring these blood racks around, right? As long as he's keeping the Soul Grinder out of range, he could try and bring them around and skirmish a little bit with the Horseman, maybe even drop down with the Dragon for a cheeky charge, try and bring the Dark Riders in, just be contesting these guys some, because right now you're just taking damage on important units without really doing anything in return, so yeah. Yeah, definitely a consideration for sure. Like, the fact that Tzeentch Kite is so strong, I don't know, I guess Scourge Chariots probably don't trade super cost effectively into Tzeentch Kite, I would imagine, and Marauder Horsemen are kind of outclassed Dark Riders in many ways. I don't know, you'd have to kind of work things in a certain way, but not looking good. Yeah, I was just about to say, Hadris, it feels like this build needs bolt throwers. It feels like you need some true long-range pressure to kind of equalize things here. Either, like, more heavily into, like, mobile skirmish, like, take some Scourge Runners, or, yeah, take some bolt throwers. Just, Soul Grinder's definitely a danger for all factions, right? And as are Flying Lords, that the bolt thrower is also going to be good against, have enough mobility here with the Dark Elves to be able to protect them for the most part. At least to pressure your opponent in, right? But yeah, Dark Elf build isn't ideal to say the least. It has some good elements, but you could fine-tune it a little bit and it would be much better. But we'll see. I mean, he's taking damage right now, but who knows? Maybe he'll come in and get a big burst and surprise us all. Make a big comeback here. But Breath Attack going to be used there. We'll eat some barrier HP and actually do some real HP damage as well. Yeah, it definitely feels that way in my experience, Hadris. Like, they just, they used to be quite good, can still do well in certain matchups, fighting certain targets, but yeah, like, shooting into Marauder Horsemen, I don't think you'd be able to pay for themselves, especially with Tzeentch Barrier. Adding that little bit of extra HP, and, like, the Horsemen run out of range and regenerate a little bit of barrier, right, could just be quite painful, but Mirovoy right now just winning this, this shootout pretty decisively. Golden Floof just really didn't bring enough firepower to the table. Tzeentch Soul Grinders, definitely tough. Definitely tough. The best thing you can try and do is, like, screen them, distract while hitting them with long-range stuff. Probably. Cannons and bolt throwers and such. Yeah, see, now the Dark Riders and so forth are coming forward. But, yeah, those Doomfire Warlocks are just going to get absolutely wrecked by those Javelin Horsemen. I mean, that is going to be just a brutal value trade for those Doomfires. So, yeah, I mean, if the Doomfires even just themselves were split into, like, multiple Dark Riders, this build would have a lot more going for it. But, I mean, once he does get into range to start using the Medusas, they are able to definitely work down these units pretty quickly. You can see how Golden Floof was able to just claw 2,000 value in just almost an instant there. Granted, the one Blood Rack is almost dead, but the Tzeentch Soul Grinder has still got a little bit of ammunition left. Let's see if it can finish the one. The other one is going to try and get some value here in the meantime. Definitely shooting into something like the Sour Guts. Don't want to have to fight them in melee, so that's a great target to shoot at. Or again, bring them out and shoot these Marauder Horsemen a little bit here, but I don't know, maybe Golden Floof knows something we don't, and he thinks he has a chance to just weather the ammunition here and survive, but it's possible. I mean, once the ammunition's gone, the melee capability of this Tzeentch army is not spectacular, so we'll see. But Dark Riders do manage to get a little catch over here on the edge. We'll see the Fury Summon get pulled up, probably to counter-attack that. And, yeah, you see a couple of other Marauder Horsemen pull up, so we'll try and pull away with these mobile tools while that summon is active. Medusa, yeah, the Soul Grinder, I think, has enough ammo to work down that second Medusa, so it's probably GG's, but I don't want to call it too early for Golden Floof. Definitely still got some tools. But, let's see, gonna try and catch these Furies here, the Summon Furies as well. Get caught, but are still doing a really good amount of damage. That Portal Glyph stronger than ever, with Furies getting a significant buff. Makes any characters that have it quite strong. Yeah, I agree. It's very questionable for Doomfire Warlocks. Like, the one faction that has literally every single unit has magic damage. It's not the faction you want to be taking units that rely on physical resistance. That said, Doomfire Warlocks actually, did they get any value in that engagement? Was that all? Well, they got 300 value, so there you go. But yeah, at this point, the Blood Rack Medusa is low enough. Tzeentch army's just going to move in their melee units. Get the, oh, my camera would stop bugging out. I really need to just remove that as a feature. Like, whoever wants your camera to jump back like 10 feet very violently. Not me. Anyway, yeah, the Tzeentch guy gonna get in here and finish off the Blood Rack, and that's pretty much it for Golden Floof. I mean, I guess there's a small chance he can literally hold off long enough to win on tickets, but I don't think he can maintain the actual objective for long enough, just because he's been pushed off it pretty effectively right now. So, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, the Druidkey player, I guess, was going for the capture points, but you can see now this is pretty smart by Mirovoy to actually just tactically pull back all of these infantry units. This is going to pull all of Golden Floof's infantry away from the capture point. But, I mean, that being said, the Supreme Sorceress is not going quietly into that good night. She is actually just besting Exalted Hero right now, especially since the Lord of Change was not in combat, at least momentarily there, but now is going to pull up some more Furies, and yeah, 3v1 single entity fight is going to go very poorly for Dragon Sorceress. So let's see if she can screen out. She's going to bring in some Dread Spears here. Yep, looks like she's able to screen effectively there. So, I don't know, actually. I think Golden Floof has a chance here to win this on points, to be honest. Yeah, and I mean, his forces got largely led away here, but it's not like they're necessarily going to lose, right? Like, they're probably going to more or less trade or at least win. Let's see. Oh, Supreme Sorceress gets caught in the air, though, by the Exalted Hero and the Summoned Furies. Absolute disaster with her off the field. Yeah, Golden Mirovoy should be able to just come in and secure this objective and win. Let's see. Oof. Supreme Sorceress just jumps down, basically, to try and hold as long as possible. You can see the Dread Spears also coming back to the objective to try and keep it secured, but it's not going to be enough. I don't think. Yeah, the Robber Horseman getting onto the objective. You can see the Lord of Change also getting onto the objective. Looks like it is going to get capped there. Yeah. Yep, looks like that's probably it for Golden Floof. So a valiant attempt and almost very close, actually. This game does not have army losses, that's correct, so they will fight to the bitter end. But it looks like Golden Floof now, with his last stand on the capture points being defeated, he's going to throw in the towel there. So quite the game, though, I have to say. You know, despite Golden Floof's losses, and despite him just getting smashed by Tzeentch fire there, he's managed to hang on to the end and make it a game, for sure. So credit to him there. Despite getting outvalued significantly, was still able to play the game effectively. Yeah, just a few odd build composition choices we talked at length about. I could fine-tune, just literally cut the Doomfire Warlocks. He had 2 Doomfire Warlocks? Oh, wow, yeah, cut them, one of them for, like, a Bolt Thrower, and cut the other one for 2 more Dark Riders. You could probably take, like, 1 more Spear as well with that. And then you're good. I think that build probably just wins, to be honest. Or at least you're able to hold on to the capture point long enough to win. But Tzeentch, yeah, Soul Grinder, absolutely brutal. Combination of these 2 single entities, quite good. Then you add in the Exalted Hero for some extra support, and it's just, yeah, Tzeentch Kite, quite good. It's kind of interesting to me that Tzeentch is basically like Warriors of Chaos plus missiles, and it means that the whole equation of, like, it used to be that Dark Elves would just kite Warriors of Chaos and they had no chance, right? But oh, good stuff. Let's check in on the chat here. Let's see here. We'll check in on the bracket and see how things are getting on. Yeah, looks like mostly round 2 still. So let's go ahead and see here. We can jump into another one. Let's see here. That one, spectator slot. Let's see. This one's got to have a spec slot, right? Alright, so looks like we got Berserk versus Chain Soldier. Excellent. All right. Yeah, that was a wild one for sure. For sure. I gotta respect it though. I mean, we've seen some Queek, we've seen some Doomfire Warlocks. Do I need to do a top 5 worst units video? It's been a while. I think that the last top 5 worst I did was the top 5 monsters video, and like that was probably like 2018, 2019. So I could probably do with the top 5 worst units video. Yeah, Doomfire Warlocks are definitely on that list. What are some other units that you guys would consider like among the worst in the game? I have to sit and think about it for a minute, but I could think of a few lords and heroes that are pretty much completely useless. Let's see here. Maybe top 10. There's a lot of units now. Yeah, but here's the thing. There's not that many units that are actually, like, truly awful. I would argue most units actually have some use case. Like there's Doomfire Warlocks are one of the few. Well, there's probably a bunch of Slaanesh units too, to be honest. But yeah, Doomfire Warlocks. Yeah, see, like even now I'm like struggling to think. If I think about the Empire's roster, like pretty much every single unit, even something like Ironsides, it's a little bit awkward to use in practice, or like Mortar Wagons have some good matchups, right? Matchups where you legit can use them to good effect. Archers maybe for Empire, or specifically the Archer Regiment of Renown, because it has the most worthless Regiment of Renown traits in the entire game. Like Stock and Vanguard's fine, but then it has Snipe when its range is like lower than any spotting distance in the entire game. Most chariots do less than Doomfires. Yeah, you could put a lot of chariot units on that list, to be honest. And if I were to make a top 5, top 10 worst units list, it would probably be mostly chariots, sadly. Actually, I disagree. Gelt is very good, considering how cheap he is, and he's Lord Metal. And Gorst is also pretty good. Single entities didn't get proper scaling. Yep, like, oh yeah, the Tomb Scorpion, that's got to be on the list, right? That's one of the worst monsters in the game, for sure. Terror Goose, sadly, probably also on the list. Let's see. Even like a unit like Crypt Ghouls, right? Just, you know, you hardly ever see them, or Flagellants. Like, they even do have some matchups where you can use them decently. But Crypt Ghouls are probably up there as well. Arrow Titan, yeah, the Arrow Titan could do with a buff. I'm hoping, very much hoping, that we can get yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just get distracted. Arrow Titan, yeah, it's up there. It's up there for sure. At least it has like a buttload of HP though, right? Like the Tomb Scorpion doesn't even have HP or weapon strength, right? So it's just kind of there. Scorpion. Yeah, used to be just one of the meta monsters. Actually, there's a lot of the monsters in that sort of lower cost tier that are just not super usable right now. A lot of Lizardman dinos don't seem the best. Some of the variants aren't particularly great, but especially compared to what they used to be, like the Solar Engine. You hardly ever see Solar Engines anymore, where they used to be an absolute staple for Lizardmen. Mostly just due to their accuracy, I think, to be honest, but Chaos Dragon was kind of forgotten when they buffed the other dragons. Yeah, it's true. Chaos Dragon's definitely up there as a Lord hero mount. It would be cool if they added Chaos Dragons just as a unit level as well for Chaos Warriors. Not that they need more stuff. Goodness, Warriors of Chaos have gotten so much over the past while, considering they get something new with every Monogods DLC, a couple of new units, but anyway, new characters especially quite strong. So yeah, now we've got more Cathay, this time versus High Elves. I expect we'll see quite a bit of Cathay today. But yeah. Let's see. Zhao plus a junk. Oh man, gotta love some junk. With 4 Iron Hails, very interesting to protect. Alchemist, again, just for mastery. No, actually does have Plague of Rust, for real. Then we got Dragon's Breath only, no Final Transmutation for Zhao. And looks like some long spears. So long. And Jade Lancers with Onyx Crowman. A lot of Peasant Horsemen as well. Quite a bit of cavalry in this build. So looking to contest mobility and let the junk do its work. Berserk, it's got a plan. See what Chain Soldier can do against him. Archmage of Death. Nice. Very nice pick for the High Elves. And we've got double Arcane Phoenix to back her up. So, yeah, it's going to be quite the flying battle here with just a staunch line of Axemen. White Lion Axemen and some sisters. Just a single sister. Some silver helms scattered around. And Illyrian Reavers. Lord of Life Mage as well. Interesting. So just Earthblood and the replenishment items. Interesting. And then Archmage of Death has Armor of Stars, Fate of Buna, Spirit Leech. Interesting. Quite interesting, I must say. Can't remember any time it was a good mount. There was a time, actually, where it was okay. In Warhammer 2, you could take the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and the Dragon, especially with Lord of Fire, and in certain matchups, like, it wasn't ever the best, but it was viable somewhat, especially if you took Lord of Fire, because Chaos Dragon actually did fire damage, but I think, did they take that away when they took away fire damage from a bunch of dragons? Like, I know they took it away from a bunch of the High Elf dragons, which just feels bad. Like, why? Seen Solar Engines after the Perfect Vigor Aura buff. Yeah, well, that's definitely a use. And if you can get hits with the Solar Engine, their debuff, the debuff is absolutely amazing, right? That blinded contact effect is probably the strongest individual contact effect in the game. But let's see here. See the Reavers for Chain Soldier gonna come up and get that capture point capped immediately to start building up some victory tickets there. But it is land battle after all, so both players kind of sizing each other up, checking each other's army out, no doubt. Going to be doing a little bit of scouting here as well, checking out some of these woods to make sure there's no Vanguard shenanigans. Let's see how they get on. Doesn't make any sense considering their attack animations include them breathing fire. Yeah, I actually agree, Dreaded Saurian. Yeah, I disagreed with the change when it was made originally, and I think it was made literally because of Chaos Dwarfs, which is like, okay, you're gonna nerf them against many factions, because the fire is actually a good benefit against a lot of different factions, right? You're gonna nerf them against that, but oof, Arcane Phoenix goes for the dive bomb there on the Flaming Phoenix Feces. Clean miss, though, and is going to take a huge amount of burst damage as a result. But look at this. Both the Phoenixes just dropping their hot loads all over these Iron Hail Gunners, just trying to shut them down immediately. They're going to take some damage in return, but while this is happening, also got some Reavers getting sized up by Lancers here on the flank. That's not going to be a great engagement. Yeah, the Onyx Crowman charge in, and High Elves are generally going to have a tough time all the way out there on the side, and I would say in general the High Elf build here, lacking numbers, could run into some issues. There's only 13 units versus 20 for Berserk, so Berserk definitely has the initiative to try and pick his engagements if he wants to. Right now, though, he's kind of letting his engagements get picked for him, as Chain Soldier is able to bring a lot of his units to bear up on the side here. Looks to be isolating some, though, out on this flank. White Lion's going to get charged in the open field. Maybe, not actually charged, but yeah, the Reavers here actually get just straight up killed. The Phoenixes don't do enough. Push back this massive force of Jade Lancers. And yeah, the Iron Hails also just focus in and wreck those Reavers. I mean, they are just Reavers after all, but maybe not. Maybe the High Elves, it looked like they had a nice kind of local engagement here, but they actually don't have any blob punish. This was like a Metal Mage. You could get a devastating Final Transmutation right here. But this, unfortunately, it's just death, right? So, pretty sure every single Khorne Lord does fire damage. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. The rationale for it makes no sense. Just why they should just get fire damage back. Anyway, like the idea of making Dragon's Breath Cone instead of a missile would be interesting for sure. But Cathay, from a build perspective, I feel like just has a pretty good advantage here. I feel like, again, Chain Soldier went a little bit too tall, I think. Maybe not, though. He did end up doing okay in that mobility engagement out on the far flank with the support of the Lion Infantry. Also got Lion Infantry kind of pushing up into this back area. Not that there's a lot of missile units for them to focus. Most of the missile units have been brought to safety over on this side over here, but Phoenix is still staying alive for the time being. One of them fighting here, just absorbing some damage while these other units kind of run around. Yeah, let's see here. Zhao transforms, is going to try and fight the Phoenix up in the sky. Phoenix looks like it's trying to disengage while the High Elf units, kind of line units across the field, get into combat, try and get some work done. Lion Infantry will definitely be superior to everything Cathay has infantry-wise. Is going to be relying on shock and missile damage to deal with them. See those Jade Lancers on a nice downhill charge. Got a little bit of a slope to assist them in impacting those White Lions. White Lions, once they turn and fight, will do quite well in that engagement, though. 2v1, also, the Phoenixes have a pretty good shot versus Zhao. That said, the missiles nearby are going to change that equation significantly. The Iron Hails, especially up close, have massive burst damage, of course. So let's see here. Also doing a little bit of distraction on the Sky Junk, not allowing it to get set and fire. But yeah, you can see here, Chain Soldier starting to get pretty spread out, separated. A lot of his units are getting somewhat isolated here. It's definitely going to lead to them having some problems. Like, they'll win some engagements locally, but yeah, the numbers game for Berserk is definitely telling, for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, Jade Lancers. Again, sustained combat against White Lions aren't going to do particularly well, but the Sisters of Avalorn, still a decent amount of unit models online. Firing in here, doing some damage to the Sky Junk. Chain Soldier is actually not as far behind as I thought he would be on the value here, but it's still not looking great for him, to be honest. Let's see if he can close down some more of these units. Nice Jade Lancer cycle charge. One unit moves out, a couple more units move in. Silver Helms providing some mass here to make sure those White Lions don't get just detonated by cavalry charges, but a little bit of Spirit Leech and a charge from two of the Phoenix, or one Phoenix, I guess, and the lady here. The one Phoenix has already fallen, actually, which is pretty big for Chain Soldier here. Pretty big loss for him. Let's see here. Yeah, ooh, I don't think this Phoenix is going to get its rebirth. Nope. And it goes down. Oh, man, that's quite painful. I don't think either Phoenix got their rebirth, which is definitely feels bad. Chain Soldier, it looks like he's probably done for here, but let's not call it too early. And he does have most of his units at this point surrounded and sort of being dragged down, so not looking great. Yeah, dragons have had a little bit of a roller coaster experience. At times they've been very good. Certain dragon variants, especially like Star Dragon, has been just absolutely broken meta, but yeah, Chaos Dragon I don't think has really ever had a true place in the sun. Especially like, you know, Shaggoth, Bro, Kolek, right? And then you, over time, like Archaon, especially in Immortal Empires in Warhammer 3, Archaon burst onto the scene and just wrecked shop. Like, for a long time, just a sorcerer on a Manticore was often the most cost-effective when Manticores were kind of reigning supreme, which, speaking of bad units, Manticore is not nearly as good as they used to be. They used to be absolutely meta-defining in many ways, but yeah, Iron Hails here just feasts on a lot of value. I think the main piece that bursts down the High Elves. The Berserk moves on, and we will as well. Let's go here. Let's see. Taking a look at the bracket and the battles here. Still working through round 2, it looks like. Berserk moves on there. And let's see if we can't jump in one more to spectate here. Nope. Okay. Wait just a moment for one to open up. But yeah, if you guys want to check out the bracket, you can look link down in the description below. We're waiting on a few games to finish up right now. We've got Sipa versus Nurgle's PA, Traveling versus Kirith, Berserk versus Chain Soldier, Big Man versus Tim the Wilder, currently ongoing, Danalos versus Mirovoy. Let's see here. Nurgle's PA versus Sipa's, good match for sure. Yeah, we've got a few really nice matchups shaping up for the round 3. Race versus Berserk should be interesting. Interesting. Yeah, let's see if we can get in on that one. All right. Some more music, shall we? Of Med 2 soundtrack, of course. Gotta give a shout out to Bits and Hits on YouTube. I've been listening to recently a bunch of their lo-fi remixes of like Oblivion. They've done some World of Warcraft tunes. They haven't done any Total War, but they have done Age of Empires. So if you want some classic game soundtracks remixed in a nice, chill, kind of lo-fi vibe, definitely check out Bits and Hits on YouTube. Anyway, let's see here. Go ahead and refresh this. Yeah, looks like we got Sipa versus Hadriz as well. So let's see if we can get in on one of these. Nope, wrong one. Okay. Check through some of these lobbies right now and see what's going on in some of these. Oh, here we go. Race versus Berserk. We'll hop in on this one, since this is going to lead into our semi-final. The winner of this will move on. And we're making good time today so far. An hour in, and we're already pretty much to round 3. That's great, guys. Been moving through those games. I appreciate it. Best of ones goes quick, so yeah. Because land battles with caps games, in my experience, often average a little bit longer than regular land battles. That's why I wanted to do this as like best of ones rather than best of 3s, so we could try and get through in a reasonable amount of time without the tournament taking like 7 hours, right? But yeah, now we're making good time. Finals will be a best of 3, of course. Let's see here. Yeah, Some people dropping some replays from the tournament today as well. Definitely appreciated. Yeah, so far, I mean, we don't have the biggest sample size in the world, but so far I'm not really seeing, like, the player 2 getting a huge advantage on picks. It seems pretty much 50-50 right now, but I don't know. Could be wrong on that. Definitely still open to feedback, but I had a theory that, like, picking rules, like, within a certain set of parameters, like, within a certain set of reasonable parameters, like, it matters to a degree, but it doesn't probably matter as much as other factors. So, yeah. If the players are 100% equal in all ways, that's when, you know, it probably becomes a lot bigger of a factor, right? But I would say player skill is still by far the primary governing factor of this. But I think either I'll do blind, like, just, you know, like, still do the 3 bans and then blind pick at the end, or I may just do no mirrors, which would effectively give you a 4th ban, or a 5th ban, pretty much, because right now you effectively have 4 bans between the 2 globals and then the 2 that you select, and if there was no mirrors, right? Yeah, could be interesting. Yeah, and it's also possible if we had a bigger tournament. I mean, we had a pretty good-sized turnout today, I have to say. I'm quite happy with it. Not mad about it at all, but yeah, I'm curious, like, if we had a bigger sample size, maybe you would see more of a skew towards, like, the player 2 having more of an advantage by picking second. But right now, it's looking pretty much even. But we're mostly on the round 3 now. Just got one more round 2 finishing, so yeah, making really good time. I probably could have done best of 3s, to be honest, but it's always hard to know, you know, if you get a huge turnout. Like I said, I don't want the tournament to be going like 5+ hours, so make it a quick one today. And yeah, another qualifier next weekend on Sunday. Should be even more participants next time. And we'll definitely be making some adjustments. I'm also open to feedback on bans of stuff. Right now, the only thing we have banned is the Landship and the Thunder Barge. But, yeah, I'm possibly open to banning Tzeentch's Bow and the Carming Dragon's Breath. But smash that like button. Appreciate it, Steve. Yeah, like, there were a few people who wanted to join today who either, like, slept in too late, or, which definitely happens, you know, especially with these early tournaments, or else they, you know, it couldn't get the mod working, or having some technical issues, or whatever else. There's, occasionally things that happen, right? So that's why, you know, I thought long and hard about how I wanted to format this season. If I wanted to just do a couple of, like, standalone big tournaments, one big standalone, like, tournament, or, like, I decided to just, again, go with the qualifier type format, because it allows me to kind of distribute the cash prizes out to, you know, a few different people. It also gives people an sort of incentive to keep coming back and playing in the events, right? And yeah, I just like the format overall. I like being able to select a few winners and then take them on to, you know, more grueling, you could say, challenge against each other. But are we sending in replays? If you want to, feel free. I mean, you don't have to by any means, but I have my channel, the appropriate channel on Discord open, of course. If you want to send in replays, they're likely to get casted over the next week or two. From this qualifier, or from any of the qualifiers, to be honest. Yeah, should be a great match. Demons versus Dark Elves. Definitely an interesting one. Yeah. Demons' general lack of armor is probably not the biggest issue here, but I already see a Tzeentch Soul Grinder once again. And Herald of Tzeentch as well. Got this kind of beach landing map here. Here in Bretonia. Oh, the deployments are quite interesting on this, sort of over in the corners. I kind of like it, to be honest. Let's take a look at the builds here. Just make sure I'm not screen blocking anyone. Yep. Okay, cool. So we've got Raced here flying up in the sky. 5 Corsair handbows. Wow, going heavy on that infantry skirmish with a couple of Dread Spears. Got Crows of Cain, some Cold One Knights for some counterpunch, and a Dread Knight even. Single bolt thrower to keep things honest. That's pretty much it on the opposite side here. A couple of Nurglings. We've got some Pinks. Yep, proper Pinks. And the Sour Guts. Along with some Flesh Hounds. A couple of Screamers, including the ROR. Soul Grinder, Herald, looking like probably just Blue Fire, if I had to guess. Yeah, Locust of Conjuration, Searing Doom, Plague of Rust. Interesting stuff. You don't see demons a ton, but I'm very interested to see what they can do here. Absolutely. Well, let's see here. Yeah, the Reaper Bolt Thrower, obviously, target priority #1 by far is going to be the Soul Grinder, and then the other priority is going to be to protect it from these mobile units, which is certainly easier said than done. Flesh Hounds and Screamers, fairly formidable. We've also got a Corn-marked Fury out on the flank there. Is there something similar here? Yeah, so interesting. Basically, Berserk is saying here that he thinks that the Corn Furies are going to be the best, at least for this situation. If you were against a more well-armored faction, you'd probably want the Slaanesh Furies, but I would generally agree with this. The frenzy on these Furies is quite good. Wait, whoa, no, Race, no, no. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, that's too bad. Game might have crashed there, possibly. I was real excited for that one. That's too bad. These things do happen. Let's see here. Do we wait? We jump in another one? Nope, looks like he's back. Okay. We'll just let them load back in. Should be same armies. Yeah, these things do happen. Peer-to-peer connections and all that. Not going to be around for the second qualifier either. Yeah. There's always a third or fourth. Those ones will be in the evening US time, so, you know, it could be a little bit tricky if you're European. It'll be, you know, starting quite late for you. But we're going to have one on a Friday and one on a one on a Sunday. I go ahead and actually just take a look here at dates and times for the future tournaments. So June 9th is going to be the next one. That's next Sunday at 10 a.m. as well. Mountain time, of course. And then the one after that is the 14th, which is a Friday. That one's going to be Friday evening U.S. time. Well, I say evening. It starts at 4 p.m. which that's that like 9, 10, 11, depending on what European time zone you're in, if I remember right. So, I mean, if it goes today where we're done in like 3 hours, you could maybe do that one as a European if you don't mind staying up late on a Friday night, which, you know, it's Friday, so there you go. And then the last one is going to be the 22nd. Sorry, it's a Saturday also. It'll be in the evening as well. So that one, you know, if you're European, also would need to stay up late for, but gives you some options of different time zones, you know. The grand final we'll probably do offline and then cast the replays just to try and coordinate schedules, or I don't know, if we can get everyone together on one day, that would be great. But I understand, you know, different time zones, and especially during the summer for a lot of us, it'd be tricky to coordinate these things, but yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people, like, you know, me, I've worked in the restaurant industry for a lot of years, you know, was thankfully these days I'm not in the restaurant itself, but still working in the industry, and I, for a long time, did work in restaurants, right? So I understand, you know, especially for some people, like Saturday, Sunday, that's your work day, right? That's your day to make money. Very unlikely to be able to get it off, and I definitely empathize with people who can't get those days off to participate in multiplayer events, which is why I wanted to host at least one qualifier on a Friday, so that people who, you know, have that day available can at least come join then. So, yeah, Berserk. Yeah, definitely came out in strides for this tournament, which makes me happy. Good to see a lot of these lads around for sure. We'll let them reset and get going once again. And yeah, basically where we were before. The Soul Grinder. It's a priority target for the Reaper. Reaper is priority target for Berserk's entire army, pretty much. So, oh, of course, Shredded Saurian. Well, it's also, you know, like for people in like, you know, Australia or Korea or anywhere in the East, let's say, Southeast Asia, or just East Asia in general, you know, the European timed tournaments are often in the middle of the night for them. So we have an evening tournament. I'm pretty sure that's like morning for most time zones over there, so they can also participate. So yeah, looking good. But anyway, both throwers going to be opening up some shots initially on whatever comes into range, looking like some Fleshhounds. Fleshhounds are definitely going to be a threat. Fleshhounds and the Furies. Yeah, I can see Race kind of tucking up close with some of these units here. Going to want to stay in range to defend against these mobile units should they try and strike. But, ooh, getting a little risky with this Supreme Sorceress here. Taking some damage from the blues as well at range, and from the Herald. So not the best right there, but does have some Harpies to help screen against some of these flying tools. Zerk definitely has more flying overall. Let's see how things are going. Just check over here. Okay, looking good there. Yeah. Supreme Sorceress taking some hits. And heal herself, of course, so maybe Race doesn't mind too much taking this damage. As long as he doesn't get bursted off, he should be able to heal through a lot of this just fine. Ooh, nice little dodge there. Dodges a pretty sizable volley. Little Plague of Rust. Overcast does deal some damage on the Herald, but, oh yeah, look at that Overcast. And then some volleys hitting Black Ark Corsairs. They're down to only 20 armor with that Plague of Rust active. I thought maybe these Pinks would try and follow up and come hit them with some ranged attacks, but it looks like maybe not. Maybe just biding time for the time being. Soul Grinder's also burning a lot of its ammo shooting the Supreme Sorceress, who, again, can probably heal. I don't know. She's also trying her best to dodge, not necessarily succeeding every shot, but yeah, I need to see some Soul Stealers here from the Supreme Sorceress probably pretty soon to try and regain some of this HP. But Race also can just play conservatively with her for the time being, try and avoid damage as much as possible. He himself continues skirmishing forward. Not wanting to get nasty kited here. He's got his Corsair handbows in range. There are no demon units with shields. So, yeah, the Corsair handbows should be able to feast on quite a bit of value here on pretty much all targets, but also taking some damage in return, certainly from those pinks. But let's see here, getting a little aggressive with these Cold One Knights, trying to counterattack those Flesh Hounds, just remove them from the field. So far, Berserk's definitely ahead on value. Race hasn't really been able to make effective contact, but here he comes now with some Cold One Knights in the front line, starting to smash up some Nurglings. These Cold One Knights also do eventually make contact here with Flesh Hounds. They're going to immediately get Plague of Rusted, though, which will certainly turn that engagement against them. We see a Searing Doom also impact those Cold One Knights there, so yeah, Berserk definitely just punching back hard here, and Raced unable to effectively respond. Looks like he's going to come in and counterattack those Harpies, see them off the field. The Bolt Thrower's still alive, but it's really not doing much. I mean, it's barely, like, blinking through the barrier of the Soul Grinder here. I don't know. Has it done much real HP damage at all? I don't think so. Yeah, just a single Bolt Thrower with no XP chevrons isn't going to be super high impact. I don't think it would even be able to kill the Tzeentch Soul Grinder by itself, so... Nice breath attack there in the center. Gonna do some good damage to those pinks. But it's not looking great right now. Serene Sorceress was able to heal some of her HP back up. And the Soul Grinder's almost out of ammunition here, but it's just so much of these pinks and blues are still... Well, no, there's no blues, but all these pinks are still so healthy, still have so much ammunition left. Yeah, not looking great for Race now. Let's see here. Yeah, oof, it's just so much damage. Oh, the damage from these pinks. It's a pretty brutal army composition, I have to say, for demons. Really focusing on Tzeentch in many ways, you know, with the Soul Grinder and the Blues and the Lord, and then kind of supplementing with some decent kind of auxiliary support units here, with the Corn Furies and Nurglings and whatnot. I have to say, pretty impressed how this has performed so far. But yeah, Raced quite a bit down on value now. He's going to try and make it work with his dragon. He'll charge in there to get some damage on the Soul Grinder as these Corsairs continue to kite a bit. They've got the Screamers pulled somewhat out of position. Looks like the Cold One Knights are going to try for a little counter charge here. Moving into the Screamers, see if they can't finish them off. But the Screamers, of course, also anti-large HP, and just the blanketing fire of pinks continuing to rain in, make everyone very sad. Just so sad. Oh, of course. My dream would be for Creative Assembly to implement something like this officially. I mean, I think it's kind of a pipe dream. I highly doubt it. They've got other stuff to focus on, but for the time being, I figured if we could generate more interest for the game mode, right, for the mod and for Land Battles with the Caps as a game mode, maybe that would help Creative Assembly see that perhaps there's some merit in this as something separate from Domination. But we'll have to wait and see. Nice Soul Sealer there. That Supreme Sorceress certainly not going quietly, but with just her left on the field and a massive crescent formation of pinks, Raced is going to throw in the towel there. So Berserk coming through strong with the demons is able to prevail quite mightily. Pinks, yeah, it's basically like Tzeentch with some auxiliary corn support and a couple of Nurglings, which I quite like, to be honest. Very fun stuff. Nice to see demons prevail. And, you know, Raced gave it his best, but it's tricky. Demons, I feel like, is a faction that most people don't have much practice against. So it's hard to know really what to do. But I don't know. I feel like it's also potentially a tough matchup for Dark Elves, to be honest. Like, just thinking about what demons do well, it seems like they counter a lot of what Dark Elves can try. But yeah. Yeah, that is going to be a victory for Berserk, who now moves on to the semifinal. Let's see if we check in on the bracket now. Yeah, we've got Danilost and Mirovoy underway. Crabling versus Rusto, Sipa versus Hadris, both underway as well. The winner of Danilost versus Mirovoy will go to face Tim the Wilder in round 3, and then the winner of that will move on to face Berserk in the semifinal. So we'll watch for that one to pop up when it does. I'll keep my eye on the tournament chat over here. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Making great time. Having fun. You guys are doing well. Been a blast so far for me. We're playing by Demon Prince, so yeah. Yeah, Tzeentch demons have probably always been the strongest, to be honest, since they actually have ranged units. And with some of the demonic buffs, Tzeentch, I mean, if any faction didn't need any buffs, arguably it was Tzeentch. But, yeah, they're quite good, as always. Hopefully we'll see some more soon. Changes for Khorne, especially. Like, could you imagine if one of the Khorne Lords actually had an ability besides melee attack buff? Or self buff? Like, it's kind of crazy that, I mean, other than Valkia, you look through the Khorne Lord's loadouts, and they're pretty much all the same, actually, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, like, if I just come in over here and quickly demonstrate my point. Come into Khorne, right? So, like, we've got this guy, Herald. Oh, what's his kit? Let's see. He's got some self buffs and some melee attack buffs. Okay. This guy, he's got... What does he got? He's got melee attack buffs and some self buffs. Okay. Valkia, we've already established. Oh, she's got, like, invulnerability and an AoE damage and a debuff. Wow. Wow, okay. So, actually different. Yeah. Demon Prince, he's got... oh, what would you know? A melee attack buff and some self buffs. Exalted Bloodthirster, what has he got? Oh, he's got an explosion, which is cool, and then, yeah. Mostly explosions, actually, weirdly enough, but not actually very good ones. And then some self-buffs. And then Scarbrand, he also does have something unique, the AoE Enrage, which is quite good. Rampage, I should say, and a Breath Attack, and then self-buffs. So, like... I'm just saying, you could give, like, Tormentor Sword, or Portal Glyph, or an item... especially to one of these two generic lords, or the Demon Prince doesn't have any items, you could definitely give him one. Just to make them more unique and fulfill some different roles and give you some different tools to take as lord kits, because right now it's pretty much like, oh, you want a self buff and a melee attack buff? Got you covered. That's it. That's literally it. So anyway, rant over. Let's go back to waiting for some games here. Just realized Tzeentch is basically the old coast. Yeah, pretty much. Except if zombie pistols were, like, pretty decent in melee and a little bit more expensive. Because that's basically what blues are, right? Yeah, anyway, this is the point in the tournament where we get to, you know, not have any games to cast. So I'm going to take a quick bio break. We will go to intermission, and I'll be right back when we have a game to cast for you guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay right... Well, you can go somewhere. Like, maybe actually do go get a drink of water or a snack or something if you need to, but you know what I mean. Be right back. Yep. Okay. Everything's working. Cool. We are back now with Tim the Wilder versus Danalost, who is Tax the Rich here on Steam. We've been seeing a bunch of games from him recently, actually. But yeah. Let's see here, just responding to a few people talking about some technical issues, a little bit of crashing, it seems like, on this map. Possible it's the map. This round is on Portalo Landing. Ooh, we're gonna see some Kislev versus Dwarfs, huh? An interesting matchup. I don't know that I've ever actually played this matchup, weirdly. How have I never played this matchup? Are you serious? I'm just thinking about it now. I'm like, hang on. These two factions exist. So that means they must fight each other. But I don't know if I've ever actually, like really deeply considered this matchup. Maybe I have, actually, in the past, when it was just dominated by Dread Sleds and that was the end of it. But these days, I don't know, actually. Interesting. Oh, yes. Yes. One of my cats just showed up for some attention. Don't have my webcam set up currently, or I would give you guys a little cat cam situation. Guess I could set it up while we're waiting here, but, maybe next time. Maybe actually that would be fun. Would you guys like to see a little face reveal? I've done a face cam stream a couple times in the past, but, would that be interesting for you guys to see my beautiful face in between games? I can talk to you and wave my hands around like I'm, you know, emoting. Yeah, let's see what goes on here. Going to be getting to the semifinals very shortly. Just got a little bit more waiting in between rounds here to do. The nature of these live events. But let's see, on the opposite side of the bracket, so far no scores have been reported for Crabling versus Rusto and Sipa versus Hadriz. We shall see. Yes. Some more messages here on the side. Kislev versus Dwarfs. Let's think through this matchup. So, yeah, Kislev, armor piercing wise, because that's like the defining trait, right? It's, can you get through the Dwarf's armor? Their cavalry is very good. Even though they're non-AP, they're still can hit extremely hard, even against armored infantry. Especially Griffin Legion. They are pretty expensive, though. Yeah, I would think Armored Cossars are pretty much a straight-across trade for Dwarf Warriors. Like, I haven't actually tested it, but especially if they get a chance to loose a couple of volleys first. But blasting charges could be a bane for them. Yeah, Dwarf's ranged advantage in general feels really strong here. Like, the fact that you can just, like, cannon up and kind of defend, it in many ways presents similar problems to what the Empire faces. I feel like Kislev maybe has less tools. You do have something like Things in the Woods, maybe a little bit more of a monstrous and chariot component that the Empire lacks, right? Between the Dread Sleds and the Things in the Woods. So you do get a little bit of AP from that, but those tools also seem pretty vulnerable to just like basic Slayer defense or missiles. So it's an interesting matchup for sure. Again, it's not one that I like deeply considered in the past because it just is. There's just too many matchups in this game now, honestly. There's so many matchups. There's quite a few, probably even still, that I haven't really, like, fully contemplated. But, yeah, Dwarfs versus Kislev should be an interesting time, for sure. See here, some more messages. Okay, here. Sweet. People sending in some replays. I love that. Haven't seen a Kislev game in a while. His turn has banned them. Yeah. Maybe, you know, rightfully. But, I feel like if they're strong in land battles, they're definitely S tier, but I don't think they're as impressive as they are in domination. Triple Griffin Legion? No, actually. No, we get some Dread Sleds and some Things in the Woods, as predicted. He does also take a single Little Grom, which is an interesting choice. Ooh, I like this build a lot, though. A couple of the Trollhammer Torpedoes, now with very long range and fast missile speed. Got some Gyros as well to punish Kislev due to their lack of flying units. Oh, man. Ooh, I like me some Gyros. He's also got a Doom Seeker with their weirdly, like, stretched unit card. And some regular Slayers, along with blasting charges, double engineer, plus a rune of slowness, bro. So, interesting. Looks like Crabling did prevail over Rusto, and he has now moved on to the next round. So let's see what we can do here. Let's take a look at these army comps. Yeah, Ostankia, Things in the Woods. We've got a Little Grom. Ostankia is definitely a problem for the dwarfs. There's one single heavy sled as well. Going to be an important piece. Then the rest is just like, what, Armored Cossars. We've got Patriarch here for some healing. He's on foot, so he's not going to be too impactful besides that, but just Armored Cossars. Yeah, Armored Cossars, some regular Cossars, a single Kislev warrior. Interesting. Yeah, and then from Dana Lost here. Doom Seekers hidden in the woods. Gotta love that. Some miners in the vanguard. He's got Slayers here. Iron Drakes are definitely an interesting choice. And it does feel a little bit thin to try and defend these missile units. But, yeah, there's not a lot of bodies for the dwarfs. Just wondering, yeah, Bugman's also kind of out in a little bit of vanguard here. I mean, it's certainly risky to spread your units out like this, but see how things get on. Yeah, this little Grom is actually probably going to be a bit of a problem for the gyros. It is sort of the one response Kislev has to flying units, is to just shoot them, right? And little Grom will definitely be able to do some very good single target damage to them. That said, we'll have to see how Danielos is able to respond here. Okay. Oh.
They think themselves strong.
Okay.
Is their strength to the lynching cold, the dark shadows, the wild woods? They will learn, won't they?
Okay, Ostankia. We did not expect to hear Ostankia's voice, giving us a nice little general's intro speech there, but there you go. Sending a nice flying bear, which is going to impact and do a lot of damage to those miners. Wow, that bear, I feel like it used to be pretty useless, but the spirit bear, quite strong now. Does cause quite the explosion. Damages those miners, but let's see here. Yep, you can see Little Grom already targeting onto the gyros, taking, what, a unit model or two off the unit already, as they try and kind of skirmish around a little bit here. The heavy war sled's definitely going to be a problem as the dwarf build's so spread out. It doesn't have, like, the slayers in position to try and stop these charges from happening. So, I mean, the heavy war sled could just charge straight in and do some serious damage to these miners, but right now, still staying somewhat conservative. Yeah, we've got the bomber also out in the distance there, trying to move in to get some damage done as Little Grom switches targets onto the troll hammers. Probably need to try and move them into the woods to try and get some cover from that if you can. But heavy war sled's going to charge in. Bugman's Rangers do actually have charge defense, so they're not going to take as much from this as you might expect. The heavy war sleds are actually going to be, well, they'll be effective still. I mean, they're still heavy chariots, but yeah, they're not going to be doing as much as if it was just like a plain ranger unit, right? But that said, these units are, again, quite exposed out by themselves. I'm not really sure why Danielos decided to deploy in such a manner where his units are so kind of spread out and unable to support each other, but it looks like it's probably going to cost him. No guns for the air might feel bad. Well, yeah, to a degree, except Little Grom, and I think, like, the armored Kossar shooting is probably also going to be enough to threaten the gyros significantly. But yeah, Bugman's Rangers getting caught out here and exposed and wrapped up. That's going to be like 2,000 damage value off the bat for Tim the Wilder. So again, don't really agree with the deployment situation for Tax the Rich here, but let's see what he's able to do with it. He does have his gyros now moving in danger close. Looks like for some bombing runs. One model has already been picked off the Skyhammer, but oh man, look at the damage now on those Kislevit warriors. He's going to move in for another bombing run here, perhaps. Yep, blow up some Kossars. So, yeah, this is definitely a way that the dwarfs can try and claw some value back while these, you know, mobile units are busy dealing with other things. Ooh, even a little cheeky charge in there to try and break the Kossars. Although they have Buyer Bloods, they're not necessarily going to just break, but the Skyhammer is able to come in here and get some damage. Does lose another unit model there, though, to Little Grom. And value trade-wise, I think the value being lost in gyros here is probably equal to, yeah, the value of the Kislev units being damaged here. So, like, not really sure. Gyrocopters charging armored Kossars in melee also is going to be pretty rough, but at least the miners do get into range through some of their blasting charges. It is going to do some decent damage to the armored Kossars. Nothing absolutely insane, but Doomseekers also are looking to get in range. Absolutely cleave in melee. We do have the Trollhammer torpedoes opening fire, and oh, the damage. Ooh, once they do set their sights, you can see their heavy war sled in just one volley is severely damaged. They definitely need to come forward and deal with Little Grom, probably as a priority, even over the heavy war sleds, perhaps, but we're going to see a Blizzard pulled up there on the Slayers in the back line. Not sure what the engineers are doing right now, what they're targeting exactly, but Doomseeker's in combat now, just clubbing some armored Kossars. That said, Iron Drakes with nothing to protect them are going to be, of course, extremely vulnerable. Yeah. And damage is quite good. But they're also relatively low model count, which means they will get damaged significantly by even just the shots of Little Grom. Let's see here. Doomseekers still cutting up these armored Kossars. Islev's passive, of course, strong as ever. I want to say the big game as balanced as it's ever been. Maybe. Yeah, not looking great for Danalost here. Although the Doomseekers, I don't know, if, like, let's say the army just exhausts all of the ammo of the rest of these units. The Doomseekers, I don't think they actually have enough because of their total lack of armor. They'll probably take too much damage in the process, but they'll be able to cut through a fair amount of this, you would think. I don't know, they're not actually doing that much damage to these armored Kossars right now, which is pretty sad, but... yeah, Kislev just getting some early good engagements. I don't know, Tax the Rich just taking too many losses, kind of in some isolated situations there with the Bugman's Rangers and whatnot. Just a little bit of a tall, narrow build as well. Maybe needed some more meat. Hard to say, but looking like Tim the Wilder is going to be going on to the semifinals. Let's go ahead and check here. We're still waiting on Sipa versus Hadriz. It seems like they were having some technical issues on theirs, so waiting for that result still. And then the winner of that one will play Krabbling. Winner of this looks to be Tim the Wilder, is going to go on to play Berserk, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, not looking great right now for Tax the Rich, aka Danalost. Let's see here, just checking some messages on the side. Needed cannons. Yeah, Dwarven cannons, I would probably take at least one in this matchup. They're so good right now, and you can apply pressure to so many different Islev units effectively, from their cavalry to the chariots to the, you know, things in the woods. You'd be able to just tear models away from them, right? Even Ostankia herself, I think, I don't know if she gets triple hit by cannons or double hit, but there's a possibility that she gets double hit by cannons and you could kill her in like 2 volleys. But yeah, I think they just needed to alter the composition a little bit. While I don't totally hate the pick of the Doomseekers, I just don't love them either, necessarily. So, yeah. I'm throwing the towel there. More ranged units than melee, yeah. Yeah, the gyros, while I like in principle, in practice, against a player who has the tools to counter it, which, I mean, Little Grom, like, let's say you, like, even just remove the... maybe remove the Skyhammer, right? Replace that with a cannon. Remove one of the Iron Drakes and maybe the Doomseekers. Maybe you keep the Doomseekers. I don't know. Just go a little bit wider with some more infantry, especially you could get like 2 Dwarf Warriors, 1 more Slayer, and then a cannon, I think, to round this out. Would be quite good. The Bugmans also, I mean, obviously keeping them close to the vest so they can help protect would be good. But, yeah, it is what it is. That's why you play the games. Let's move on to the next one. And we'll probably just keep it right here as we are awaiting Berserk to join the lobby. Sipa versus Hadriz has not yet been reported, so go to this one. It's going good, Red Salamander. Going really good. Oh, looks like Hadris and Crabling just... Well, yeah, Hadris just prevailed there, so... All right. Yeah, we're now officially on to the semis, so this is really where things are getting good. Gyro's really a domination unit. Too many easy counters to them to be so expensive. In land battles, it really depends on the faction, and it also depends on your build setup. Like, again, if you think about Kislev, just from an overall perspective, their only way of beating gyros would be to shoot them out of the sky. So then you think, like, okay, what are the units that could potentially shoot gyros? You got Little Grom, like maybe Streltsy, you know, Armored Kossars a little bit. Less threatening, certainly, but by far the most threatening thing would be Little Grom, right? So then thinking about sort of your priority list, okay, to protect the gyros, I need to take out Little Grom. What's the most effective way to take out Little Grom? Probably just bringing my own cannon, right? So that sort of leads us back to, yeah, the build synergy. Like, you have to think about threats to different parts of your build. Like, the gyros would have been able to kill a ton of infantry, right? But the other thing you have to think about, too, is like, okay, a lot of those are going to be Armored Kossars. Is it even worth the risk and extra micro it's going to require? Or should I just take more traditional, like, ground-based ranged units? Maybe just stack up on cannons and take, like, 4 cannons, right? But yeah, it's a consideration for sure when you take gyros. Like, what in my opponent's army could potentially kill these, and how am I going to stop them? If you're fighting like a Chaos faction, for example, right? Like, okay, Furies are a danger. How am I going to kill Furies? I need some ground-based missiles to shoot them, maybe to screen, or I can try and hard land them near some other units which can countercharge in and kill Furies. You got to plan for these things, right? But part of the sort of macro of this game is building your army composition with a plan in mind, and then, you know, adjusting as you go. But yeah, in domination though, gyros for sure shine. Fact that you can bring him in off Vanguard, it's kind of your one fast response unit. The burst damage is also pretty good, especially against like lower, kind of smaller armies, right? Like if it's like 2 infantry, 3 infantry units holding down an objective, you can go bomb them out real quick. Granted, you're going to need something to then capture the objective, but still, gyros are great for something like that. You can come in, you know, a couple of bomb drops, pay for themselves, and even like unsummon them for a partial refund. Just rinse and repeat, right? Seems quite strong in domination. But, let's see. Yeah, they're definitely a great land battle unit as well. Like I said, you just have to kind of think about what your opponent has that could potentially kill them, and just make sure you cover those bases. Yeah, it can be very cost effective in both formats for sure. Yeah, that's also true in domination, right? Keep them in your reinforcement pool and then only bring them out when there are no threats to them, right? Or when the threats are managed. Yeah, the steam gyros are just incredibly cost effective. They can pay for themselves. Like 1 or 2 bomb drops on the right unit, you can pay for itself. Right, exactly. In land battles, if there's no reinforcements, they can be a win condition if your opponent doesn't have counters, or if you bring the counters to the counters, right? And again, that goes back to what I was saying with Little Grom. Like, you think about, okay, Little Grom's probably the most threatening thing to gyros in this matchup, so I need something to kill Little Grom, right? Is there any other flying unit in the game that would lose to gyros in melee? Bats? Maybe? Fell bats would? How would you gyros get in melee? I mean, they shouldn't, but... Yeah, I mean, it depends. If your opponent has slows, be able to catch the gyros in the air, that's definitely a consideration. Yeah. The thing too is, like, if you do, let's say you do have gyros, at least, you know, if you're, let's say, on the more mid-tier, on the micro level, right? Like, you can sometimes end up, like, needing to micro your gyros too much, and like, for me, right, I've found that sometimes I might slip on a micro in another part of my army. Maybe I forget to manage my infantry archers effectively, or, you know, maybe I'm forgetting my targeting priority on my cannons, or forgetting to use caster abilities or something. Often, you know, if you can sort of, if your micro gets stressed in that way of trying to constantly run away and kite with them, it's going to impact other areas of your army. So, yeah, even kiting, I mean, unless you're an absolute god at kiting. Yeah, that is true, though. If you do a precursor bomb drop and then charge down into melee against a lot of infantry skirmishers, you'll be able to rout them almost instantly, which is great. It gives you like a fast, kind of light cavalry charge option almost for the dwarves, which is just fantastic. It's true. You do have the most micro to give. Absolutely. But, yeah, even still. It's still a consideration. Yeah, I mean, the firewall moving thing is interesting, because if you're getting kited, as long as you don't take a really terrible angle, and as long as whatever's chasing you is not fast enough, you can kind of, like, you know, zigzag, like, across your opponent's lines, and you'll still be generating some value as they're moving, as they're firing. Yeah, that bear missile, that's probably the best I've ever seen it do. I think part of it was due to the fact the miners were in kind of a squarish formation. Maybe also due to the targeting changes. But let's see here. Uh, yeah, so just a question about Tang's bow. I didn't actually specify. The only bans pretty much I specified, other than like your typical, restrictions on duplicate spells and abilities with limited charges. The Thunder Barge and Landship again are banned. Had a couple questions today about the Carmine Dragon and Tzeentch's Bow. Basically, the way it is in Fruit Rules right now, I think they've allowed the Carmine Dragon's Breath, and still Tzeentch's Bow is banned. For me, they're basically the same, and since I didn't specify either of them are banned for this event, yeah, they're usable. A few people have asked me about it. Not that many people have taken them, but we'll probably ban them for next time, unless there's some hotfix, this week. But, yeah, that was my mistake. And also, if you're gonna... You gotta ban both or neither, to be honest. So, yeah. That's where we're at. Yeah, the Little Grom is one that you gotta account for sure. Definitely, but good showing, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to review the Fruit Rules and make some adjustments on things that, like, again, not that so these things are like voted on and they have a committee, and I very much respect all the work that the Fruit Rules committee has put in, and I'm relying on them, right, in many ways to operate this. The unit caps in this are based on the Fruit Rules, right? So, but yeah, in terms of like ability and mount restrictions for characters, there's not necessarily a great way to do it within the mod, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, next time I think I'll just have to put a note in to ban those two specifically, but we'll see. Yeah, we've got a nice group right now. Like I'll check in. I haven't had a ton of time to play myself recently, but I'll check in, periodically and see who's playing on the ladder, and it always makes me happy to see people queuing up and getting some good games. Let's see what these guys can do, though. Okay, that should be getting started very shortly. All right. Yeah, not for mounts and items and such, right? So I'll probably make a note of that next time on the tournament rule page, just that such things are explicitly banned, specifically Tzeentch's Bow and the Carmine Dragon. Yeah, I'm tempted to allow the Carmine Dragon and just specifically ban the breath attack only, but... Looks like we're gonna get started. Yeah, of course we do see Tzeentch. No surprise there. No Soul Grinder for Tzeentch. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, yeah, got Zhao, Seiteng, 5, but just like a host of infantry, basically, and that's pretty much it. So it's definitely going to be relying on that big monster to get his work done, and then, yeah, again, I'm surprised to not see the Soul Grinder from Berserk. Maybe he is worried about it getting sniped by Seiteng, perhaps? Let's see here. Man, my mouse is really giving me fits today. Really got to get this thing replaced. Anyway. Let's see here. Yeah, Tim taking a nice wide stance. Kind of mixing in some cavalry here with his other units. See some Centaurs there in the back for Tzeentch. We've got some Screamers, plenty of pinks, I'd imagine. Seems like Berserk really likes the pinks, even over the blues, which is interesting to me for sure. He's also got some Knights and some Marauder Horsemen, so a nice mix of cavalry there. A Sorcerer Lord of Metal on horseback. Interesting. By far the most kind of different build we've seen so far today from Tzeentch. But yeah. There's quite a bit to be had here. Let's get things going. Where'd my chat go? Here we go. Okay, yes. Looking good. Looking very, very good here. Berserk super wide right now on his stance. Units just all over the field, looking to potentially come in and just try and pick Cathay apart. But, yeah. Seiteng's bow definitely will be banned next time, but I mean, I wanted to be fair to everyone. I didn't actually include it in the list of banned units, so yeah, it's here. We'll see how devastating it is in this particular battle. But Berserk, off the bat, is just kind of, you know, just kind of chilling. It's just, he's got a lot of his units hidden, very spread as well, so he's not going to be taking, you know, blob burst damage from anything. Let's take a look. These guys are within range of Seiteng. Take a couple of volleys there. Going to pick a model or two off the Screamers, but that's fine. It's just hitting the Screamers. Not too much of a problem. So let's see here. Doubt anyone played Nurgle in this format for competitive tourney. Yeah, I don't think I saw any Nurgle games today. Maybe I actually did see one, but let's see here. We're going to see a quick transform. Ooh, something just did a lot of damage there to those peasant archers. Oh, what was that? I didn't even see. Was that the shrieking Sky Ray's little ability there? Your little ROR, like bomb, I guess? I don't know. Odd. Catch that. But let's see here. Seiteng just trying to pick his targets. See who he can snipe. Berserk using these little impassable terrain kind of blockages to block line of sight on, like, his Lord, for example, right? Seiteng's going to pop his reveal so that he can get scouting. Make sure to try and get at the Lord here if you can. But, like, where's that music coming from? Forgot the Med 2 soundtrack was still on. That's fine. These pinks are going to get a little volley there on Seiteng. Doesn't do too much damage, but certainly anything you can do to try and work him down over time. And yeah, Berserk has been able to use these impassable terrain pieces to very good effect so far. He's pretty much closed the distance while taking minimal damage at range from Seiteng, which has been of great benefit. But there's the bow, comes in, does massive damage to a single Centaur. Yeah, I mean, not the worst unit it could have been used on, and it did maybe like a quarter HP off of them. It wasn't completely devastating, so actually okay. Those Centaurs are now going to be used to kind of side charge Jade Lancer that had overextended a little bit. The Jade Lancer is definitely coming in heavy. Going to get a charge into the Chaos Knights. Should be able to hold for a little bit of time here, but oh man, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord pulls up right next to Tzeentch. Gonna just fight him in melee, I guess. There we go. That's one way of keeping him from using his bow as a Searing Doom comes through and just rips through some of those Peasant Horsemen and Jade Horsemen. You see the Centaurs kind of come in for an engagement and then pull back away out of range of those Peasant Archers. We've also got some Centaurs moving up and around the flank here to try and crush from behind. So, yeah, over on the far side, though, Cathay has allocated quite a bit of resources. Maybe getting distracted a little bit here and leading to some of their other units being defeated piecemeal, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. Tartar Horsemen getting caught and sandwiched somewhat as Cathay moves to capture the objective. Yeah, looking pretty fine here. Yeah, Nurgle's PA's got it. Berserk used that terrain expertly to get a good engagement here. Centaurs come in and start to crush these archers in the back line. You can see the pinks also blanketing fire in there to add some extra DPS, shut down those missile units as a priority. Ooh, we see some spawns being summoned here. We're going to continue adding some mass, chasing those peasant archers down. And Tzeentch's actually just not doing great. He's trying to continuously pull away from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, who is, as a result, just winning that engagement. So, yeah, Tim the Wilder slightly ahead on value, even still. But Tzeentch definitely getting some good picks here. That said, he's got to be a little bit careful not to get too caught up in this blob. The Sorcerer Lord could have some issues, for sure. If he gets too isolated, and then, like, let's say, Zhao swings up and around to go 2v1 on a single entity engagement, could cause some serious problems, not to mention Tzeentch is still kind of being forced into a little bit of a kite situation here. Knights have taken very significant damage, and he's got these Centaurs just kind of in tactical reserve there in the back line, but nice Searing Doom blob formed for the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. But, oh no, Tzeentch's loading up his bow once again. He's going to try and fire it point blank, but it misses! Oh, he's too close, and it pretty much completely misses. Not only that, but it nukes that Peasant Long Spear. Friendly fire damage, and that's going to be a bad get for Tim the Wilder, as he, yeah, suddenly springs Sorcerer Lord loose. Might not matter, though, if Zhao just comes in and absolutely crumps the day. So let's see if some of these mobile units can swing up and around for Tzeentch. Maybe the Sorcerer Lord might flee back up and around this terrain, perhaps. Terrain had been used so well by Tzeentch initially to, you know, gain an advantage, but now sort of trolling themselves with it. But Centaurs moving up and around, these Chaos Knights also moving up and around, and the mobility pressure from Tzeentch is definitely coming through, maybe. Oh, looks like having some problems in the back line as that Centaur gets routed off, and the Chaos Knights trying to follow up there. But, yeah, Centaurs, nice charge into Tzeentch, who has taken a substantial amount of damage. Zhao does catch the Sorcerer Lord out in the open field, though, which is not great for him. He's going to need to pull away from that engagement, maybe screen with some horsemen there. Yeah, a little bit over-blobbing here with the Knights of Tzeentch and the Centaurs there. Yeah, Knights definitely need to pull through and not stay committed to that engagement for too long. But these Knights also coming back to maybe chase some of these routing ranged units, start to clean them up, perhaps. In fact, this Chaos Knight is still so healthy is of great benefit. They're going to come through and provide a heavy screen for Zhao, but meanwhile, the Centaur's just cleaving Tzeentch, so despite Tzeentch even having access to the bow, still probably doesn't pay for himself. Yeah, absolutely brutal from Tzeentch. Berserk definitely going Berserk here. Let's see. Arcane anime power-up moves and no match for Tzeentch trickery. You think Cathay is underblobbing? Yeah. Well, let's see. Tzeentch does manage to survive momentarily there. Oof, nice charge from the Centaurs into Zhao to do a bunch of damage to him. The Shrieking Skyrays also being used to chase some routing units there, along with the Chaos Knights. They're going to be able to clean up the majority of these kind of open space units here for Cathay. So it's really just what's close around this burning camp here. And, oh, a nice, ooh, brutal overcast Searing Doom. Nice. Just gets tons of value feasting there. And, yeah, nice Dragon Flame Breath as well in response from Cathay. A little Sunder armor from the missile there, combined with the Warp Flame. Yeah, down to 70 armor. Tzeentch's taking a little bit of extra damage from those missiles during that uptime. But, oof, another cast of the arrows just about finishes off those Centaurs. Yeah, Tzeentch, even low HP as he is still obviously quite dangerous. So, let's see here. We've got some pinks coming back from Kite. Got a little bit of ammunition left. You can see the Chaos Knights also moving into melee with Tzeentch. All the missile units just using everything they can, but having a hard time actually finishing him off. Shrieking Skyray is going to come lend their anti-large AP to it. Let's see here. It's going to depend a lot on whether or not he can finish Tzeentch, and it looks like his leadership is now starting to crumble. Yep, there it goes. So Tzeentch down, maybe a little Plague of Rust even. Yep, and there we go. The Watcher falls with it. Berserk still somehow slightly behind on the balance of power, or sorry, on the value, but certainly has a battlefield advantage as we see, you know, continue chasing routing units. More pinks moving in here with quite a bit of missiles left, more than enough certainly to finish Zhao. So yeah, Tim the Wilder getting ground down slowly but surely. Yes, live coaching is a no-no in tournaments, generally very much frowned upon. Tzeentch always lies on value. It's true because of barrier, right? If you were to equalize that barrier value, it's probably... Tzeentch is probably ahead, but... Yes, Tzeentch just lies. Very true. Yeah, I don't know. Zhao's actually, he's doing it right now. But, I mean, this one unit of Chaos Knights comes in, pins Zhao, and all the pinks just shoot him to death, and I think that's pretty much it. But... even in the unit cap, Tzeentch just lies. No, those aren't Zangors. Clearly, they're not allowed. They're extended roster. Man. Berserk. Going absolutely berserk today. Really showing his skill, for sure. Whoop, whoop. See that right there. Why? Why is that a feature? Why, if I double-click the mouse wheel, does the camera decide to jump back nauseatingly 20 feet? Like, it should not be a thing. But anyway, Plague of Rust on Zhao, plus the Sundered Armor, plus Warp Flame. You could get him down to, like, like 20 armor? 35 armor? 25, something like that. Tim the Wild, they're gonna throw in the towel there. It was a good game. That was a very good game, actually. That was one of the best games we've seen all day, and Berserk used the terrain beautifully to close the distance there while taking minimal damage from Tzeentch. As a result, pretty much just great value all the way across the army. Like, most units pay for themselves, which is great to see. The Chaos Knights, not maybe in terms of value, but certainly in terms of tactical value, were able to do a lot. Tzeentch ends up clawing back 1,600 value, so it wasn't necessarily a huge loss. But a lot of the other units for Cathay, long spears you would expect to be fairly cost-effective here, and they are. The archers, though, just really didn't do anything for Tim here. And, yeah, the mobility also ends up getting crushed pretty hard. Yeah, mostly light horsemen. Not going to be able to stand up to Centaurs and Chaos Knights and whatnot, but, yeah. Fantastic stuff. So let's jump in now with Hadriz. Oop, nope. Spectate. Nope. Okay. There we go. Excellent. And do this real quick, just in case. Nope. Okay, not showing any builds. Oh, yeah. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. No one saw it, right? I mean, both these players are readied up anyway. They probably have their army picks completely locked in. Interesting. YouTube keeps wanting me to insert ads, but I absolutely refuse. Could probably make a lot more money on this stream if I was inserting ads here and there, but no one wants to watch ads, right? Oh, yeah. So here you go. Today, ad-free, presented by Creative Assembly. Yeah, Creative Assembly did officially put up some money for me to distribute for this tournament. Definitely would not be able to give out as substantial of a prize pool without their assistance. So big thanks to Creative Assembly for sponsoring today. And yeah, it's been quite fun. We've had some learning experiences, but we're moving through pretty quickly. 2.5 hours in, and we're already almost to the finals. Is pretty good, honestly. Like a solid, 3 to 4 hour tournament was what I was shooting for total length. So, wowzers! 1,000 yen. Hope one day Games Workshop greenlights collaboration for Total War Warhammer 3 with either Honkai Star Rail, Guardian Tales, Black Souls, and a Gotcha will work well for a Total War collab. Yeah, I'm assuming those are all mobile games. I'm actually not familiar with any of them, but yeah, recently when they sent me the stuff for the Skulls event, they did send some mobile game related materials that I actually haven't even looked at, to be honest. But yeah, big thanks for the tip, man. Absolutely massively appreciated. I'll give that a big old heart for me. 1,000 yen, right? That's the symbol for yen, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't done my currency flashcards in a while, but thanks. Yeah, I haven't hosted a competitive event in probably like a year, maybe not quite a full year, but it's been many months. So yeah, figuring out where things are at and what the game looks like now, pick and ban rules and all that. I'm not too. I should say I'm not at all unhappy with how today it turned out. I am quite pleased, and if you guys couldn't tell, I'm having a blast casting these games for you all. But thank you. I appreciate your kind words. I appreciate the tips. What factions have been in this tournament so far? Ooh, we've seen quite a bit of Tzeentch, Dark Elves. We did see some Demons, which was basically just Tzeentch plus. What else did we see? We saw some Dwarfs, saw some Kislev. Yeah, we've seen mostly selection of kind of top factions, High Elves as well. I was expecting mostly today we would see sort of mid to high tier factions that are reasonably well balanced because of the sort of the pick format. It's hard to pick factions that are very skewed, but we'll probably refine things somewhat for the next go around. I'm thinking I'm leaning towards blind picks, honestly. Like, we'll still keep the same ban format where you get, one global ban each plus 2 single bans, and then a blind pick. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but let's see. Warriors of Chaos coming in for Crabling. We haven't seen him play today, but I have seen him play quite a bit in the past, and I know he's a great player. We've got some Skull Crushers here, 2 of them, Marauders and Chaos Warriors in the main line. Demon's Spew also mixed in there. So some nice great weapons, Marauder Horsemen, Chaos Warhounds as well. For the Empire, Carmine Dragon, as with Satang, is not banned, so the Breath Attack is available to be used here, and we'll likely see her try to go snipe that enemy Lord if she can. We've also got a Steam Tank, Volley Gun, plus Black Lion's War Wagon with Volley Guns, along with 5 Halberds, Felix, and 1 Knight of the Black Rose. So quite a tall, kind of elite Empire build with gunpowder plenty. I say gunpowder plenty, mostly just mobile wheeled Hellblasters, which is going to be amazing. Let's see. Damage initially is not too crazy, but we do see a little Spirit Leech, and the Steam Tank also using its volley gun on those Skull Crushers. Going to do some damage. Nothing too crazy so far. Marauder's also getting hit by that Hellblaster right in the face. I haven't really tested the Hellblasters a ton since the Scattershot change. You'd think there would be a unit that I would be all over, but actually not too much these days. But Demon Spew. Ooh, I thought the Steam Tank was maybe going to get a little charge in there, but no, just devastating them with the Hellblaster at range. Warriors' army is looking to get into melee range very soon, and the Demon Spew are doing their best to hold their leadership as they close the distance, absorbing quite a bit of damage there and still making contact with those Halberdiers. Ooh, look at the charge damage there, considering how tattered they are. That's impressive, man. They're definitely going to get routed, but not before they do a thing, at least. And Poison Warhounds coming in here, taking significant damage as they try to get at those War Wagons. War Wagons are definitely going to be a big problem. You can see the Skull Crushers sweeping up and around the flank, trying to maybe get a mobile kind of angle to try and charge in on those War Wagons. The Skull Crushers also doing the same thing, trying to circumnavigate that bear statue right there. This is Kislev, of course, so you gotta have a bear statue. But, oh man, the volleys, look at that. Massive damage on the Black Lions from those Marauder Horsemen. Just regular old Marauder Horsemen. A couple of volleys, focus fire on them. And the Skull Crushers catch them from the back, and that's quite an expensive unit for the Empire. Going to be lost. We do see a Fate of Boring hitting those Skull Crushers. I think that's what that was. Something there. Maybe not. Maybe it was one of Elspeth's other effects. But, yeah, the Chaos Rush has actually managed to make contact, and right now the Steam Tank isn't making a huge impact. The Skull Crushers have largely been able to stay alive, although they're not really going to do much against this massive line of halberds. The Knights of the Black Rose fighting on top of the halberds will be afforded a fair degree of protection. A little bit of a heal as well. Ooh, that's Nurgle healed, given the cast time. Yeah, nice upgraded Fleshy Abundance. Help those Skull Crushers sustain this fight. Still probably don't want to be fighting on top of halberds for too long. Probably actually want to get these Marauder Horsemen over here and start throwing some javelins at the halberds. Maybe not. Maybe you use the javelins to hit the Steam Tank as much as possible. But Spirit Leech on the Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Nurgle. He should have the Crown of Everlasting Conquest. Doesn't look like he does, actually, which in my opinion is a little bit of a mistake. It's a pretty cheap item and would allow him to self-heal, which is seeming like it's going to potentially be a problem here. It's going to have to allocate some magic to heal himself. Let's see. Steam Tank and the Carmine Dragon holding out just fine. Hadra is actually ahead a little bit on the balance of power. Still got these Skull Crushers available. Ooh, they're luring Elspeth away. Yeah, looks like they've been... Nope. They had maybe an opportunity for a little rear charge there, but decided to steer clear for the time being. Maybe. Will those Marauders hold their leadership, or will they get terrified away? Yeah, you can see the Skull Crushers, like, they feel like they want to charge in there, but it's definitely with all those Marauder all the Halberdiers and the Mass of the Knights of the Black Rose, maybe not going to go amazingly well, but better to just pick off these isolated units here. Nice rear charge into those Halberdiers should rout them pretty decisively. And the numbers advantage for Warriors here. It's still got 15 units on the field versus just 11 for Hadras. So, yeah, starting to focus down these Halberdiers here. And even with the Javelins, yeah, I mean, even though the Halberdiers are not a high-value unit necessarily, like, in terms of win condition here, like, you need your Skull Crushers to be able to operate effectively and take down the Steam Tank and the Carmine Dragon, right? So you have to thin out those Halberdiers in order for that to happen. So tactically, actually, I would say throwing the Javelins at the Halberdiers is probably the best bet here, to be honest. I don't know, maybe you want to save a little bit of ammunition for the Skull Crushers in the late game, but I would think the Skull Crushers could probably deal with Carmine Dragon and the Steam Tank, maybe individually, maybe not actually the Steam Tank, but right now they're definitely trying with the Carmine Dragon, doing massive damage as they get a surround, a Spirit Leech from Elspeth, the Javelin's also being thrown in on the Dragon here, so yeah, Raveling doing his best to try and equalize things here, and if he's able to snipe Elspeth, that is going to be a huge benefit to him, but looks like Rancid Visitation's upgraded. Will it be enough to finish her off? She does screen away there, but still within volley range of the Marauder Horsemen, and all it's going to take is like 1 or 2 more volleys from the Javelins, and she's pretty much done, right? Down below 500 HP almost. Yeah, 520. Oh man, it's going to be close. Let's see, does she have any more uses of her self-heal as well if she took it? I'm assuming she did. But still got some breath attacks as well, but no more Death's Timekeeper. Oh, that's rough. 2 more breath attacks still in the tank and 1 more Death's Timekeeper. Hadra's leaving quite a bit of value on the table between those two abilities, and with the Carmine Dragon gone, it's suddenly like just a few tattered halberdiers and the steam tank versus all the rest of this stuff. Going to be potentially pretty rough. Traveling doing a great job also with these Marauder Horsemen, chasing Elspeth, using those javelins to, yeah, to very good effect. Might actually be able to finish her off. She's down below 300 HP. I don't know. Maybe not quite, but... All this being said, the steam tank is still alive, and in terms of the tools available to actually kill it, I mean, there's like Chaos Warriors plus Skull Crushers in a surround, and if that's not enough, that's just going to be game, and Empire will win, just based on the steam tank, which will definitely feel bad. But, yeah, I mean, the Skull Crushers... they get pretty low on leadership. They're also not immune to psychology baseline, so they can get terror routed here. Oh, also Felix is still alive to support leadership. Not that it matters too much since the steam tank is unbreakable, but it's something. Definitely something. Yeah, I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. Crabling is going to need like Rancid Visitations and some other tools to try and finish the steam tank here, and I just don't know he can. But he is accruing tickets right now at the very least, so Hadris has a little bit of a timer in him needing to like move the tank. Yeah, you can see him moving over that direction with the tank and the infantry to secure and just fight on top of the point, make his final stand there. Meanwhile, Crabling, getting all of his forces together, I think he's probably looking to get another Overcast Fleshy Abundance to heal everything that's remaining. Yeah, it looks like you see the template pop up there. It's going to hit a bunch of units. Pretty much his entire remaining army, which will heal fairly substantially, especially those Skull Crushers. That's going to be a big benefit too. But even like these Chaos Warriors, to be honest, and everything else, you know, all the healing you can do at this late stage is going to be super important. So Hadris makes it to the objective. He's going to claim that. Make sure to staunch the bleeding, not allow Crabling to win on points here. These last few games have just been insanely close, guys. Very, very happy with how things have turned out. We might see an all-VM final here, to be honest. Let's see here. Hadris is going to be biding his time for the time being. He has quite a bit of time before the victory tickets tick up sufficiently for him to win. So Crabling right now just letting his units regain their vigor. Both players, to be honest, letting their units regain their vigor. But the steam tank could maybe be doing a little bit of cheeky cycle charging here. Maybe using the volley gun to get some extra free damage in. But yeah, as long as the halberdiers can sort of maintain the objective to a degree, then everything else is fairly superfluous. Doesn't matter too much, but let's see. This is going to be it. Ooh, the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord comes in. He will be able to do some damage to the steam tank, certainly, in a single entity fight. But the question is, will Crabling be able to keep Felix away? Looks like he is going to be able to screen him fairly effectively. Felix also just kind of fighting there. But you know, the terror starting to kick in for the Warriors of Chaos units. You can see the Marauders and infantry not really wanting to hang around too long, understandably, against the steam tank. But we do have a handful of Knights of the Black Rose and Halberdiers also coming back from route as well. So, yeah, the terror is definitely proving to be a big issue for the Warriors right now as the steam tank. It also has basically infinite steam gun ammo, right, from the top turret. And I think the Engineer in the top also has infinite pistol ammo, but right now the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord and the Skull Crushers are enough to just work it down. It looks like Crabling is probably going to be able to finish the steam tank with these two units, you know, together. Yeah, having a hard time screening, and none of the Halberdiers were able to effectively assist there either, so not looking great there. Felix is trying his best, gets a couple of hits on the Sorcerer Lord. Steam tank once again gets out in space, tries to get a few cheeky charges there. Now with Felix assisting is going to try and get us to charge straight into Skull Crushers, but I just don't think it's enough in this late stage. Yeah, I think Crabling's probably got this one wrapped. Let's see, though. Team Tank's not going to go quietly. Felix also continuing to get attacks, which leads once again to the infantry getting terror routed here. Ooh, let's see. That Steam Tank charges through once more. The infantry there. Yeah, I think it's GG for Crabling for sure. Are Steam Tanks with their directional missile block chance a bit too strong? They're probably a little bit too strong for how cheap they are. They could probably do with the cost increase, and it would be fine. I like the directional shielding, to be honest, as kind of a flavor thing, and to help the Steam Tanks be a little bit more viable in more matchups where they might face a lot of enemy missiles. But, yeah. I don't think Felix can do this on his own. I guess there's always a chance, but the Steam Tank's definitely trying its best while it's live to get as much damage as possible. There it goes down, and it's just Felix left.
Tidings. The enemy has captured one of your victory points. Take
Yep.
it back.
Oh, this is gonna take quite some time. Yeah, Felix is getting close to his healing cap. Point to route now. Yeah, Felix is, there we go.
I knew it.
There it is. Crabling prevails, and we're going to be having an all-VM final. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, Crabling with the Skull Crushers just absolutely prevailing there. Probably one of the best performances I've seen from them, to be honest. Classic, kind of great weapon line as well. The Warriors with great weapons in that actually do perform quite nicely. Great kind of Swiss Army knife units. The Marauder Horsemen generate massive value. I mean, the Steam Tank and Elspeth were bright spots, but a lot of the rest of the build did much. Well, I guess the Halberdiers actually, I take it back. They all got great value. And the Knights of the Black Rose pretty much paid for themselves, but just wasn't quite enough at the end of the day. A lot of healing to be had for this Warriors build. And yeah, I think the biggest loss was Elspeth not being able to use all her breath attacks. I mean, I say she paid for herself, but she actually probably didn't. She's like 3,000 points, all kitted out like that, so yes, indeed. So I'm going to go ahead and put the interlude back up. Mute myself momentarily, put the music back on while we arrange the finals, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I think these guys are almost ready. I had sort of a pick system for them, but evidently they think they've done their own picks just between them, which is absolutely fine. I'm totally fine with that, especially if we're going to get this matchup, which is Greenskins, we have not seen so far today, versus Demons of Chaos. That sounds like fun, so let's do this here. Right. Look at that scoreboard. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hope to one day see the Tomb Scorpion back in action. Yeah, I hope so, too. That's really one of the saddest stories of a unit that's been power crept out. But, alas, it is what it is. Hopefully it'll get buffed in the future. I'm pretty confident it will. Creative Assembly is aware of a lot of the issues, especially with different single entity units. So, you know, hopefully we'll see. I'm expecting. Hopefully we'll see some substantial balance updates. I don't know. It's always hard to, you know, tell, because like Creative Assembly being aware of an issue and then having the resources to actually implement fixes effectively are two totally different things. But yeah, well, a big part of the Scorpion is that it has pretty low weapon strength, so, yeah, it's just not, because it got switched to Ultra unit sizes, it didn't even get nerfed, and no changes whatsoever. It just, yeah, it's been power crept out, and also the Ultra unit size just, it's not good on Ultra unit size. I can't tell you the number of times I was trolled by the Scorpion's animations. Just absolutely abysmal, but yeah, it is what it is. I think these guys are pretty much ready. So yeah, VM coming out strong today. It's great to see, for sure. Yeah, the switch to Ultra messed up so many things. They're still trying to fix. It was definitely a decision, you know. It was a decision. And I get some of the rationale behind it. I just think that they could have thought it out a little bit better and maybe planned for that, you know, major, like, sweeping balance change, but what matchups I expect normal Centaurs to win on the charge? Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, on a straight-up head-to-head charge, they'll win against pretty much anything that's cheaper than them, I would imagine. Some things of a similar cost, probably. For things more expensive than them or that have more armor, they might not win, but they'll probably trade cost effectively. Yeah, Centaurs are just fantastic, to be honest. But, yeah. Let's see. You guys like the fancy graphics? So here's the bracket for the grand final. Basically, yeah, each round one bracket on the far left is like the finals of a qualifier, right? So you can see the first qualifier final is today. We've got Berserk versus Scrabbling, and 3 more qualifiers after that. The 4 winners of that will be moved on to the grand final, which will be sometime in July. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. Got some cash monies to hand out, so quite good. The music is from Medieval 2, but close. Very close. Waiting on these guys to finish picking their armies. Might just quickly spy a peek. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I think you guys are just about picked out, so we'll let them finish up here. Nice to see some green skins, especially from Crabling too, who is, you know, over the many years of casting games, Total War Warhammer, Crabling's been one of the best greenskins players, like historically, like greenskins, beastmen, those like, kind of fast, aggressive factions he has been quite good with in the past. So I'm genuinely excited to see him pilot the greenskins here. Yes. Absolutely. All my music is from Medieval 2 because Medieval 2 is life. All right, let's go. Oh, here we go. Yep, it's on the thing already. Okay. Yes, very, very appropriate song. This for the start of the grand final. How exciting. Well, not the grand final, but the final of the qualifier. Number 1, Crabling versus Berserk. Looks like we got a Night Gobbo War Boss with a full stack of greenskins up against Grand Vomitus, Demon Prince of Nurgle. I saw some Changebringers there as well. Quite exciting. Yes, indeed. We'll wait for these lads to load in, get things going. Yeah, Med 2 music slaps. It honestly does. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, even for veteran players, Burning Head, because it's a pretty quick cast time, it's tricky to dodge for sure. No, no. Oh, that sucks. I think I have a Med 2 music disc kicking around here somewhere as well, but I'd actually be at my brother's house. I don't know if I have the Med 2. Just looking around right now. I don't actually have the Med 2 pack, but I do have a Squig plushie. Yeah, Games Workshop did send me a Squig plushie, so... yeah, man, Medieval 2 is just so many good things about it. There are so many things that I wish they would implement for newer Total Wars, but for anybody who says that sieges were better in the past, just go play Med 2 and just, I mean, certainly the siege maps, I would argue, are better in some ways, but the, like, pathing, is there any Total War game that has had good siege pathing? Like, I'm honestly asking. Seems like it's been an issue forever, but anyway, yeah, Night Gobbo War Boss, a whole mess of skirmish cavalry. Got a front line of Orc Biggins backed up by Orc Air Boys, a couple of Snasty Skulkers. You don't see these super often in land battles. Not actually that great as individual units unless they're buffed up, but the smoke bombs can be quite useful, so we'll watch for that to be used effectively there. We've got some Squig Hoppers also in the back, so this is a very classic, like, full stack greenskins, sort of the new school piece, really. Not even that new school, but it's Fermented Fungi plus Tormentor Sword, which is actually technically allowed in this format. I don't know, I think it might be banned in Brute rules, but it's allowed here. Grand Vomitus, of course, we see Nurglings and some Furies, Fleshhounds for mobile units out on that side. Here we've got more Fleshhounds, Furies way in the back, Shrieking Skyrays, some Plague Toads, Pink Horrors, the Changebringers, single unit of Toads. Quite an eclectic build from Berserk. Let's see what they can do here. Here's my camera once again. Jitters and jolts. Yeah, pathing sucks in all sieges in Total War. It's just part of the experience, but still fun. This is a best of 3. Yes, best of 3 for the final. So, nice little fermented fungi. It's a relatively kind of medium, low value unit to be using on, but just tactically to get like a local advantage here. I don't totally hate this. It's also going to see a little itchy nuisance, which will, of course, affect Grand Vomitus. Yeah, Grand Vomitus risking it for the biscuits, going to charge in here. He definitely can get pinned on the ground here by the squigs. I think they're fast enough, especially with the poison, that he might not be able to escape here. I mean, that said, he is setting up a beautiful rear charge opportunity for both these Furies to get in here and just absolutely mess up the Squig Hoppers. Squig Hoppers are anti-infantry, though, so once this unit turns around to start fighting the Furies, they should do a substantial amount of damage to them. Changebringer's also moving up, trying to Burminate that Night Goblin Shaman, but actually failing spectacularly on their initial volley. Let's see there, maybe a Tormentor Sword, perhaps, to freeze these units in place. I don't know, but little Gobbo boy is definitely at risk of being killed by Grand Vomitus here. Definitely needs to extricate himself from that situation as soon as possible. You see the Biggins advancing, and the Air Boys also need to get in range to start burning down Mr. Vomitus with their arrows. But we see some Toads coming through. Looks like the Orc Biggins are going to make it to the front line just in time to counterattack them, and the Nurglings also. Orc Airboys just kind of shooting at whatever targets for the time being, but Grand Vomitus is going heavy after the Night Goblin War Boss, which leads to him getting Tormentor Sworded, and is going to try and get focused by the archers there. They are doing some pretty substantial damage. He responds with the Plague Breath, and to charge directly into the Orc Airboys. But a nice forward screen, too, with these Biggins. It's going to trap the pinks and the blues of Berserk far away from where they need to be, firing at these Orc Airboys and helping to support Mr. Vomitus here. But you see the... Oh, Squig Boss charges in. Another devastating fermented fungi. And Berserk losing his Lord here super early would be quite devastating. Crabling, definitely some sneaky schemes here of the Greenskins, punishing quite heavily the demons. And yeah, Demonic Sadness takes hold of Mr. Vomitus, and he is donezo. Donezo Washington, as my personal trainer likes to say. Of course, still Changebringers on the field. They're still making their presence felt, certainly. Another itchy nuisance here to lower the melee attack of the remaining kind of demonic units. But yeah, Crabling with a pretty decisive 2,000 damage value lead already. And with the Lord gone, that's going to lead to even more critical Demonic Sadness all across the field. Demonic units are going to be much more likely to suffer from, you know, feelings of low self-worth, which, you know, pretty relatable, to be honest, but... Tormentor's Sword and Fungi is allowed. Okay, interesting. For some reason I was thinking that Enrage and Hard Snares counted as the same, and that they were limit 1, but maybe I was thinking of something else. Maybe it was a different rule set, but... Yeah, the Furies are staying alive. Definitely Furies staying alive. The Changebringers also still have something left to give. So, I mean, Crabling is got a pretty decent lead, but Berserk's not going to give this up, right? He's still got enough tools. He feels he could potentially come back and get through. Yeah, look at those Biggins getting roasted by the Changebringers. Definitely very effective. The Plague Toads also coming through at this point. Trying to rear charge the Orc Biggins. The loss of terror is a pretty big issue, I will say, for Berserk here, not being able to terrify away any of these Greenskins units. But yeah, the Biggins, the Crabling, just relentless. Let's see here. Net limiting is weird. You can only have one targetable, max 2. Okay, yeah, see, that's on me for not actually looking that closely. Not that it matters. Again, we're not strictly following the fruit rules as far as all of that stuff goes. But yes. Not looking great for demons right now. Yeah, like 3,400 damage value ahead now, Crabling. The leadership is just, I mean, even with all the demonic leadership buffs, when you lose your lord like that, it's going to be tough to come back from it. Wow, look at that. Oh, look at that. What is that? Vindictive Glare? Yeah, because it's a scatter shot and also has an anti-large component, I believe. just absolutely wreck those Changebringers. Just pretty impressive stuff. Crabbling with a decisive Game 1 win here. Let's see if he can keep it up on the series. It's best of 3, of course. Yep. It's messaging me on the side here, but yes, Wolf Riders. Oh, I love Wolf Riders. Such a great unit. They're so tiny and small and just unassuming, but just fantastic for what they give you. Yeah, an impressive win by Crabbling and the Greenskins. That'll put him up 1-0 on the series. So let's go ahead and mark that on the scoreboard. Should have probably looked at the unit breakdowns there. I apologize on the value breakdowns, but yeah, the Squig Hoppers, great pick due to their advantages against Furies, and just generally, Squig Hoppers are just fantastic. Poison, anti-infantry, they're pretty fast. They're immune to psychology, which is fairly rare for the Greenskins. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. So let's see what they can do for their next faction picks. We'll cue up the music once more. Let's see. Let's actually go here. Nope. There we go. Jumping around a little bit on the OST, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys have some fun plans for the rest of the weekend. Been having a blast myself. Got some D&D tomorrow. Going to do some family stuff later this evening. So got a fun-filled weekend ahead of me after this, but certainly a great way to start things off. Been absolutely fantastic today. Thank you everyone for participating, everyone who's come to watch, all you giving a like, giving a little tip as well. Appreciate all you guys. Even if you're just here watching, I appreciate you too. Especially if you're just here watching only. It's a great community to be a part of. So appreciate you guys. Let's see here. Excellent. Now we move to the Valley of Lies map. We were there at sort of the rifts at the world's edge, right? And now we've transitioned into the Chaos realm. There's not a lot of good land battle maps set in the realms of Chaos. So I'm pretty happy that the map pack for land battles, or land battles with caps, includes a couple of Chaos realm maps. This one, of course, being Tzeentchian. Wolf Riders only as Scar Stick? That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, Wolf Riders in multiplayer are fantastic. In single player, there's basically no reason to recruit them. I mean, arguably in the super early game, like let's say, Skarsnik doesn't even start by the Empire anymore. I would say if Skarsnik started by the Empire, but even still, like, you can tech into Squig Hoppers so fast, and as melee cavalry, they're just so much better. Yeah, unfortunately in campaign, there's not really a lot of use for taking Wolf Riders, which makes me a little sad because they are cool units. But in multiplayer, where cost efficiency is king, and you don't mind just sacrificing reams of units, they're definitely able to shine. All right. How about you guys out there? Got any fun plans for the weekend or this start of summer? Today is June 1st, after all, so maybe some of you guys are planning some vacations sometime in the next couple weeks. Maybe some of you are not, and that's totally fine. Let me know you guys' fun plans coming up, or maybe if you've been playing something. I haven't had a ton of free time recently, but I have, after watching the Fallout show, found myself wanting to jump back in, so I actually been playing a little bit of Fallout 76 recently, which I had played a bit when it came out way back in the day, found quite lackluster, but recently, I've been, again, not having a ton of free time to play, but when I have, been happy to play some of that. It's been quite fun. So, okay, looks like Berserk's got his faction locked in. He's going to be doing Dark Elves. See here. Yeah, looking good on my end. See what Crabling's got for his pick. And pop this bracket up just 1 second here and spy a couple things. Big decision. Both players, understandably, taking their time. Wanting to get this right. Let's see here. Excellent. Dark Elves are one of those factions, you know, they do a lot of things well. I'm not surprised we've seen them quite a few times today, because they're, you know, reasonably well balanced. They can compete against a lot of different factions effectively. They're fairly versatile in that way, so definitely an interesting one for sure. Not surprising, though, to see them quite a bit today. I'm actually surprised that that's the first one we've seen of greenskins. I would consider greenskins in the right hands to be like A tier, probably like high A tier, like not quite S tier, but maybe could give a lot of the S tier factions a run for their money. Oh, Crabling's going Khorne, yes. I love it. I love it because I think Khorne's one of the worst factions in the game. So when someone uses Khorne and wins with them, it makes me very happy because it proves me wrong, and I love getting proved wrong about things like that. Because I actually do really like Khorne. Tzeentch is still my favorite Monogods faction, even though they're so strong, it's been kind of like meh to actually play them. Thematically, I like them the best, but then Khorne's just simple, straightforward, and I certainly can appreciate that to a degree. You know, in a fighting game, in a game of war, someone who's just all about the war, you know, it's pretty straightforward, but fun. Unfortunately, Khorne's just not that great right now, but who knows? Maybe Crabling will prove me completely wrong. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, we'll be ready to go pretty soon here, but yeah, Khorne versus Dark Elves, interesting one for sure. Especially since Khorne recently got a bunch of like wide-ranging cost reductions, so you can probably take more units than you were able to previously. Yeah, we recently saw a game where skull cannons were used to effectively counter Medusae, which was fun and exciting, and you know, does mean that like you might think the Medusae would just troll Khorne infantry here and just make for a really bad time, but yeah, I'm just glad we saw greenskins today. I know, right, Goji? Get to see some greenskins, get to see some Khorne. Even a little Haggard Empire from Hadris, which I should certainly appreciated. Let's see here. Just want to see Crabling play Beastman. I know, like, I'm hoping Berserk can win one game here so that we can get a game 3. Mostly just because I want to see both these guys play another game, right? Like, it's been so much fun today to see them play. And honestly, in terms of timing, I would say this is pretty spot on in terms of... It's been about... Yeah, because we started at 10, so by the time we're finished with this, it'll be about 4 hours, all said and done. For most people in round 1 and 2, they're done in an hour or two. For me, I think that's pretty ideal. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me if you feel differently, but like for myself, when I'm playing in tournaments, like obviously if you go far, you expect to have to play longer. That's just a given, but for the majority of players, to be able to get them in and out in an hour or two, so you then have the rest of your day to do with what you want. You know, you can join in and watch, you can go play other things, you can just, you know, continue doing your thing. I don't know, for me, again, this is my own personal feeling and opinion, but I feel like this is a pretty ideal length for a tournament. I don't know, maybe some people who got bounced like super early in round 1 would have liked to have had a best of 3 for the beginning, but I feel like, you know, it just gets to be a little bit too long, especially for people who are playing in certain time zones where it gets super late at night, right? But I think this is pretty spot on for how I wanted the timing to go today, so much appreciated. Right. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. I'm gonna have to go take a shower after this. I'm a little sweaty boy. Casting is usually just a sweaty endeavor. I don't know. I tend to run hot when I'm casting. Even if it's like a nice cool day, you know. Get the AC going or whatever in my room so it's not too hot. But actually recently, I haven't even run the AC at all this year, to be honest. Maybe once, but it's been decently cool here. Not oppressively hot yet, so I'm definitely happy about that. But right now it's maybe not oppressively hot in this office, but it is sweaty. Glad you guys can't smell me right now. Let's see here. Just as a quick reminder, this is, of course, qualifier number 1, grand final. Well, qualifier number 1 final, which the winner will go on to the grand final, right? So, see the bracket there. On the left side is all the qualifiers, finals. We got Berserk versus Crabling right now. Winner will move on, secure their place, the potential to win some more prize money. So while they're doing that, just gonna quickly spy some builds here. See, we're almost ready to get started. Not quite, but it's let's see. Past few days have been pretty reasonable, like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what Celsius? I forget the conversion off the top of my head. Let me see here. So that's going to be like 26 Celsius for you non-Americans out there. So very nice, actually. Very, like, can't complain, you know. 0% Carrot Hawk. I would, yeah. I mean, both of them are VM players who are known entities. I've been watching Crabbling for years, so, like, it would be quite a scandal indeed if one of them were to give over their identity to someone else, but, yeah. Yeah, it's been quite pleasant recently, and especially where I live, like, if it gets too hot, you can go up in the mountains, which is, you know, not too far of a distance. You know, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you can be up in elevation to where it's not quite so hot. So, yeah, definitely a lot of great things about where I live, but like with anywhere, it's got its pros and cons. You might think the grass is greener on the other side, but in fact, it's really just a different color. Wise man once told me that, and it's very true in my experience. But anyway, platitudes aside, let's take a look at Scarbrand. Wow, love to see me some Scar, bro. And oh man, the Dark Elves went for an all-cavalry build, which is very aggressive, and I absolutely love it. I don't know how it's going to do. I love the aggression of it, for sure. So, let's see in practice if it's able to get it done. Crabbling, yeah, Scarbrand, he's got a bunch of Marauders for a front line. He's got some Furies up in the sky, a couple of Minotaurs with great weapons, and some Horsemen of Khorne. It's a fairly standard Khorne build, what you would see sort of in the current meta. Maybe Scarbrand swap out for some other Lord and units in different matchups, maybe a little bit more width in certain matchups, but very interesting build from Berserk here. Yeah, he's got Malice Darkblade backed up by Dread Knights. A couple of Doomfires. Again with the Doomfires, I don't know. Maybe people feel differently that they're not terrible, but Khorne's, I guess, less likely to take magic damage demons, but they still have them. And so, yeah, this is a unit that exists. We've got some Dark Riders here, Sorceress of Death, and then a bunch of Dark Rider crossbows. It's all cavalry, which means that Berserk is going to have to pick and choose his engagements very carefully. It also means for Crabbling, this Rage Embodied is going to be super important, and it's basically, this could be the deciding factor here. You know, whether Scarbrand takes too much damage in the process of trying to get this off, if he's able to get a good catch with it, especially on a bunch of missile units, and just shut them down immediately. There's not really enough meat to sustain here for Berserk, so the win condition is largely, I think, dependent on the Dark Riders. I don't know, Malice is definitely not a pushover, though. If Scarbrand takes enough damage in the process, Malice could possibly defeat him in the late game. He does not have Slaughter and Carnage either, so you don't have to worry about him charging up his weapon strength over time. You can just leave him to the late game. So,
tear every bone from their body. Leave only gold.
let's see here. Let's see here. Immediately, we're going to see the Furies rush forward for Khorne and start to kind of get at these Dark Riders. Berserk immediately pulls them back, tries to stay in a position where he can protect. Scarbrand's looking like a juicy target right now, trying to get a couple of volleys on him, perhaps, but Crabbling able to largely dodge those shots and render them mostly ineffective. So, yeah, you can see Crabbling kind of pulling up here, looking to secure capture point, and then maybe, honestly, could just weather the storm of arrows here on his units, and, yeah, probably can just eat the damage in the Marauders if the Berserk is willing to give it. But with the latest patch, definitely can't sleep on Khorne. I mean, you kind of can still, but... Oh, yeah. They're better, for sure. The cost reductions help, don't get me wrong. It just helps you take more units, which is definitely something that Khorne needed, but still could do with some more ability and item variety, especially on their lords and heroes. Well, I guess those are the only ones with abilities and items, but you know what I mean. Not really a lot going on there right now. So, just like in this battle, it's a lot of kind of kiting and shooting. Skarbrand maybe can come forward here. He's not quite fast enough to get into range, so he's going to kind of be relying on Berserk to make a slip-up, perhaps, before he can get in range with that Wrathful Reaper. Or Rage-Embodied, rather. Yeah. Ooh, you see here, a little bit of a blunder. Repeater crossbows getting caught up by Crabling's Marauders there. But we see some Cold One Knights. They look like they want to countercharge, but then Skarbrand shows up and they're going to nope out of that engagement. So you see Crabling moving forward to secure with the Furies. Ensure to continue screening the repeater crossbows so they can't get shots on Skarbrand. Really nice micro here by both players, not really giving bad engagements. Let's see here. Yeah, some repeater crossbows. Still not really getting huge value. They've used up like close to half their ammunition on yeah, on some things here. Let's see. Yeah, Malice just kind of skirmishing for now. Both players, I mean, obviously with the Dark Elves having a very kite-oriented, kind of cav-centric build, it would make sense that they would want to just keep skirmishing, but with the capture point slowly ticking up over time, Crabling is taking a pretty, you know, sizable victory ticket lead. He's not quite halfway, but yeah, second point open because both players are not necessarily dealing enough damage to each other, but oh, here comes Malice. He's going to risk it for the biscuit against Skarbrand, try and get something going here. Wrathful Reaper does get popped along with Demon's Curse. Yeah, but the debuffs were popped just in time. But Malice, if he gets killed while the Rage is active, is not going to be able to use Zarkan's Demon form, which would be a huge, huge loss. So, let's see here. Let's see here. Dark Rider's pulling back there. Dark Rider's pulling back here, just getting continuously pressured. Malice did manage to survive that snipe attempt, at least temporarily. But, yeah, even once the Dark Elves get into melee here, with Minotaurs just absolutely shredding them. I mean, Fury is a very cost-effective trade into Doomfire Warlocks, that magic damage like we mentioned. These Dark Riders get screened and pushed away immediately by Throwing Axes and Furies, which is probably going to be a loss for them. So, not looking great for Dark Elves. I kind of get where they were going for with the kite build, but at the same time, against a faction like Khorne, just lacking too much meat on your build. Looking good there. Let's see. Yeah. Marauder Horseman moving in there. Fury's moving in there. One Fury does just kind of pop on its leadership, and Berserk does have some mobility to try and, yeah, kind of counter collapse here and see off. But oh, just a brutal route straight off the side there for those Dark Riders. Meanwhile, Skarbrand and his main force just kind of standing firm for the time being. They can kind of just defend the capture point and win, to be honest, at this point. Even some of these isolated kind of scattered forces, you could just leave them to the winds, have them keep harassing whatever out here in the open space. But, yeah, it looks like Crabling is going to be pulling back here. And, yeah, Chaos Furies as well. So we'll see. See how things go. Murderous Prowess largely going to be wasted here, as a lot of the Dark Elf units are not able to actually get into combat while the uptime is going. Yeah, still like a full minute, though, by the time they get into combat. But let's see. We got Scarbrand getting a nice pick with the Enrage. That Rage Embodied just crushing some Dark Riders here. Cold One Knights unable to escape Scarbrand's Wrath. And yeah, Crabbling with a decent little lead here. Berserk's definitely fighting back, though. He's got some kind of peripheral units isolated out here. Those Furious are definitely not going quietly into that good night. Yeah, Doomfire Warlocks. Let's see here. Scarbrand just standing firm. Again, Crabbling doing exactly what he should, not getting too overextended and picked apart. He's kind of got functional groups together. The Dark Elves could probably try and come do an attack to seize the objective, at least to momentarily kind of staunch the bleeding to a degree. But, yeah, not looking great right now. Yeah, right? Let's see. Some Warriors of Khorne moving through. Oh, those are actual Warriors of Khorne, not just all Marauders. Okay, so there are actually some heavier units here to defend. Yeah, I'm not sensing Berserk has a great chance to come in and actually win here. Again, there's just not enough meat on his build. But let's see. Malice is going to go for another engagement here. Bombardment on Scarbrand. Minotaur's screen. You see the Dark Riders and Cold One Knights moving in. Both players kind of escalating some significant value there. Another Rage Embodied. Going to keep those units from being able to pull away. Which then allows the Marauder Horsemen a volley and then a rear charge. So yeah, more massive damage being thrown down on the Dark Elf army. Although they're definitely dishing it out. I mean, these Minotaurs are getting punched pretty hard too, must be said. And Berserk's not falling wildly behind on damage value. But, yeah, the capping is very fast, it's true. But Crabbling, I mean, he's defended it pretty much the whole time. Berserk doesn't have much longer to make his move. But he does pop the Zarkan summon, so at the very least he won't lose the value of that. Scarbrand, of course, can just move away while that summon's active, which looks like he will. He'll just use the Minotaurs to screen there. And moving back. Yeah, Doombolt's fine. It doesn't do a lot for you. I agree the damage is not really worth the squeeze, but yeah, Berserk trying to make his final move here. So, Dread Knights moving in. Dark Riders moving in. Let's see, Doomfire Warlocks. I don't really have a good place to land here is the problem. Like, I really don't see, like, what unit on Khorne's roster does Doomfire Warlocks help against? Like, I just don't see it. But yeah, Crabbling taking a very decisive lead at this point as the Minotaurs just cleave Malice Darkblade. The rest of his mobile cav units get chased around and pressured and not able to find a decent engagement to land in. Malice gets enraged once again. Rage Embodied. Scarbrand comes in with the Wrathful Reaper active. He gets massive, massive weapon strength buffs, and yeah. Quick, make it a best of 5. Oh, Malice goes down, and that's going to be it. Thinks Berserk was memeing a little bit too much. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the all-cav build is always a huge gamble, but Crabbling just had a very kind of traditional Khorne build, and it was, yeah, it was enough. able to hold out. The power units did what they needed to. Screen units did what they needed to and ate all the missiles and charges and everything else. So, yeah. Yeah, that's, Malice, pretty much the only unit for the Dark Elves that ends up paying for itself. So, let's see here. Yeah, nothing else on the Dark Elves pays for itself. Oh, yeah. Doomfires are cool, but they're so bad. They're so bad. Let's see. Yeah, just overall great job by both these players. They were able to get through the competition today. Yes, I think that's it. That's all. Could have gotten a Medusa for the money instead. Yeah, could have gotten, double Medusa. So they crazy to me. They cost the same as Doomfire Warlocks. It's just nuts, honestly. So, yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. It's been my absolute pleasure. Big fun stream today. Fun tournament for sure. Yeah. Big thanks to everyone who came out and who enjoyed. Everything else, you guys are the absolute best. So I appreciate you all so much. And, yeah. Thank you all so much. I don't know what else to say. That's it for today. So if we go ahead and take a look at the bracket here, Crabling moves on to the grand final. Has a chance to potentially win some more here. So yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be quite a bit of fun for sure. Definitely looking forward to it, and also look forward to the next tournament next weekend. Of course, Sunday, same time. Sunday, 10 a.m. U.S. Mountain Time. Be sure to check my Discord for the sign-up link if you want to join in. That's it for today. So a quick 2-0 for Crabling, and that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed.